Okay, we're live. Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you.
Hi,
How are
Bry.
you?
Oh,
Oh my God.
just terrified and excited. It's always great to,
Why are you terrified? What are you
ah,
terrified
because
of?
it's the internet, man.
It's the internet, and this is a daunting task we've set for ourselves. I wonder if
I
we'll
know,
actually.
and I haven't pre-read like outside
Neither
of
have
just
I.
my own
Neither have
manic
I.
read, and we have huge words, and I'm an English teacher.
Okay, well let me go ahead and set this up. So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, everybody, welcome to Tokyo Record Style. This is my friend Andrea Rossin, who's originally from New York, and we met in Boulder, Colorado in the '90s. Right? We go back to the '90s together,
Yeah,
and
we do.
and and
OG.
and Andrea and I are like longtime besties. We've been in touch for so many years over these. I left Boulder in 2004, and we had probably known each other. I was in Boulder for about 9 years, and so I think we knew each other for almost all of that time, maybe
We
8 or 9 years.
Yeah, we met in 1996 or 7, very early 7 or late 96.
Is that right? Okay, interesting. All right. How do you
Yeah.
remember that date?
Because when I was pregnant and when I saw the Brian and Alice sign behind Moe's, I was this like, before
Oh
the
my God.
term Wookie mama, I had like had a baby and was a Wookie. And so anyway.
So Andrea and her lovely had a Volkswagen bus, as did I, and that kind of
Yes.
like got us on each other's radars. And
Totally.
suddenly it was like these guys were from back east. They had seen shows, they had seen Phish shows before I had seen Phish shows, and we just were in this. We actually met at a bagel shop. I think you worked at Moe's, right? That's where we met. We worked at Moe's. You just said that. So of course being run by New York Jews from the East Coast, who had all come to Boulder, like, and on a sort of on the road. Boulder became like a pit stop on your way to San Francisco, essentially. And you and I just got. I don't think our time at Moe's was rather short lived, but our time in music was very, very, very long lived. We were always at shows. Um, Joe taught me AC/DC, Redemption Song. I learned we were playing music. We were in music world. We were at concerts, and then we both ended up. I ended up kind of working at this ratty diner that has become this cornerstone of my life. And for everybody who has ever worked there, it's become this really important place. It was this sort of vortex of freaks and weirdos and misfits and just
It
misguided.
was it was a anarchist portal in Boulder when Boulder was still sort of edgy and had like real hippie vibes. If you went to Dots in the 90s, you would recognize Brian and I because there were a lot of freaky people. We were like the most normal, I
We were
think.
the most normal. We were
Hello, which is weird, but I would be your waitress that would slide in the booth with you and be all cute and flirty. And you were actually the
and kind of
same,
like, hey,
right?
hey, give me your order at the same time. Oh God, I
Yeah,
don't got
yeah,
all day to
yeah.
be here. Come on, it
But
was one of
also,
these
like,
places.
I would say, we knew everybody in the town because of that. And yeah, we go back.
Everybody after Fox shows, after Boulder Theater shows. I mean, so many bands came in there, to
So
get
many
rid of.
bands. It was
Yeah,
like
it
the
was.
coolest, grooviest place. And we always play great music, where the folks get their yokes
Where the
and their
folks get their.
jokes. I mean, it was an institution.
It wasn't. Do you know it's gone? The building's gone. I just got told
I
by
went to
so.
the hotel there. There's a very chic hotel. Come Sundance time in Boulder, because Sundance Film Festival is moving here.
Right. Congratulations.
The vibe of Dot's Diner, while not anarchical at the brand new flashy hotel, I think that there's still going to be fun times to be had
Let
in
me
that cosmic space.
let me pull this up real quick. Let me see if I can do this.
Oh
Just a quick
God, are we
one.
looking at old hippie photos of us in our
One, just
buses?
one,
Okay.
just one. Okay, so wait a second. How do you like my thumbnail that I made for us today? Hold on, let me pull this up.
Oh,
What do you
it's
think?
so cool. We look really good. If I may give a plug, my son
Sure.
did that
Uh,
picture of
oh,
me.
nice.
He for art
Okay.
class, and now he is crushing art school. And so I love
Okay.
that piece of art, actually. Yeah.
I was going through photos looking for a photo of you to use, and I used that one, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll use that one of me. So there we
Yeah, it's
are. The
good. We're
weirdos.
like,
We're
there's enough
properly
overlap.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
cool. I think we look really good.
Okay. And then the reason that I know that Dots got torn down is because our old pal Soapy Josh was here in Tokyo just a few days ago, actually, and who,
Oh, no way. Josh
yeah,
Nesco. Love that, bro. Love that, bro. Is that
Josh would
him
throw
just
the
now? Look at his
craziest.
hair. It's looking
Yeah,
good.
he's doing good. He's doing
He's
good.
got,
And
oh my
then
God,
here's
yeah, the soap factory. I
the
mean,
Soap Factory.
Dot's Diner was maybe the first restaurant to get the bulk Pangea soap. We were also, if I recall
True.
correctly, the first place that you could get bulk mate in Boulder. I
Yes.
mean, we
True.
were really ahead of the
We're a little
game.
ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but look at this one, Ann. Look at this one. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
we are so, I
dun.
love that one. God, I love those pants too. Those were great. Jay Lee hippie pants. You know, Dave Watts had like 5 pairs of those. Remember, he was very into his
Oh God, he
tight
wore
yoga
all
pants.
all your
Oh,
clothes.
we're so cute and young. I love it.
I know.
That's
Do you know
really
where that
super
is?
sweet. I think it's at your house. Maybe it's at Stacy's. I don't know actually. No,
No,
it's at
no, no, no,
Valley
no, no.
View. It's at Valley
Nice. It's
View.
at Valley
Yes, it
View Hot
is.
Springs where we used to
Yes,
run
it
around
is.
naked with all our
Community
pals. It was
house.
so
Yeah, that was the best. Actually,
yeah.
segue real quick because we do want to talk about
Mhm.
Phish, and I know everybody loves slash hates an intro. They want their content,
Sure.
but you were there with Stacy's Organic Tortillas, who you
Yes.
went to her last show with her 22 years ago, and I'm gonna go see Phish with her in like 4 days at her like next show.
That's great. That was her last show. That was Stacy's last show. We were
I do
backstage.
believe
We
you
we
were.
hung
I
out with
wasn't. You
Fishman.
guys were so cool.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was awesome. Oh, yeah. My cam's frozen. Hold on.
I
Might
know.
need
I
to hold
see
on.
that. You've
Hold
been
on.
going in and out.
All right. Hold on. What are we gonna do here? Let me try one thing. Let me while this is going, let me talk one more thing. So you mentioned Dave and Stacy. So both
Yes.
of us kind
Oh,
of hold on, let's just see it. It might
sorry. You're
have oh no.
utilitizing and storytelling at the same time.
Okay, I'm back, right? I'm
Okay.
back.
You're back.
Our significant others of yore were once in an awesome band together called Skin, which was also from like Berkeley and Boston and back east, and they know those they know that whole scene from way back in the day. So it was a peculiar serendipitous thing that you and I ended up sort of getting on with the kind of king bee and
Adjacent
queen
to the,
bee.
yeah. We were
It's
like
very weird,
adjacent to the Phish-adjacent scene or something.
right? So
Well,
okay,
yeah,
so
it's funny. So Dave and Stacy in Skin, along with Edwin. Edwin and
yeah,
Dave played in Chakra. And now, full circle, I play with Edwin in a band, which is,
yes.
oh my God, like the joy of my heart every
I
Monday.
know. I love
So
watching you
cool.
guys play. So the lineup was Stacy Ludlow, Maya Dorn, Edwin Hurwitz, who made like Mike Gordon's like Quacker box or something. He's one of the guys who built one of the sound envelopes on Mike's rig back in the day. So
Really?
that's the yes. That is
I thought
they
the
had the same.
story was he taught Mike how to play slab bass, but maybe
Ah, that
both.
could be it too. Maybe that could be it.
No, he's a
Maybe it could be two
genius. He
stories. He's a genius. Yeah. So Edwin Hurwitz, if you're out there, we love you. We're giant fans. He was the bass player in Skin, and then Dave Watts, who is the
what?
Dave Watts. He's just the. I mean, what I you should. I mean,
Dave
okay. So
Watts,
he's a Boulder
father.
institution.
Yes, father of Milo Watts, my artist
Mhm.
son, and my deep family. Yeah, Dave floating in the
He's a Boulder
winds.
institution. Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah.
led the Motet, which is I think is the biggest project that he's been a part of and the longest running project, certainly I guess 20 plus years. So yeah, the Motet are awesome. Oh my God, hold on, let's say hello to
No,
let's say hello to
over
the
20 years because our
I
son is
know.
19. It's like pushing 30 maybe.
Okay, we have a few people in here. We've set up ourselves a daunting task, and this could go on a while. We may have to eject at some point. I don't even know what we're doing. This is absolutely insane. I want to. So look who we have here. We got Phono Weenie, a homie of mine from the Great North. We've got Kara Uchi in the house. The heck?
I know.
What
I
the
sent my
heck?
link. I sent a vulnerable link to my Phish thread.
Well
You know,
done. Well done.
if you're a Phish head, you have a Phish thread with all your fishy peeps, and you
Yeah.
send, you know, funny memes and whatnot. So I did a vulnerable post into my Phish thread. So some of my folks might be popping in.
I called the last time I spoke to Kara Uchi. I divulged the the mystery that I unraveled of David Bowie and UB40. So I think I caught her a little bit off guard. I was like, dude, I figured out David Bowie. I figured it out. I cracked the code. And she was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I know. I called everybody. I was so excited about it.
I don't even remember what the code was, but I know that you have an enormous, vibrant, and sort of emotional storytelling ability, especially in the realm of Phish, and getting down to the business of what's underneath is kind of your jam. It's your depth.
Is it? I didn't know that about myself. Okay, that's good to know. Good intel. All right, I like that. You're you're one to weave your own story. So yeah, I feel like we're going to be interrupting each other most of the time on this thing.
I'm trying hard not to. I am,
we're gonna do our
as a
best.
New Yorker, a crosstalker. That's kind of
my homie Nick Pantazzi is here. Nick's an amazing guitarist, amazing musician, guitar tech. I think he's where is he? Berkeley, Boston, Boylston, St. My old stomping ground. Okay, his old stomping ground. So yeah, he's from Berkeley too. You guys might know the same people. Edwin Hurwitz. He's a decorated alumni, as are a bunch of our homies. We're so happy.
He's an OG masshole. Yeah,
Bibble and the Bibbles,
Jamie.
Dude, the Bibble and the Fibble. Dude,
yeah,
I am honored. That's awesome to have you. So Jamie Janover is in the house. Jamie Janover is
another epic. Epic personage. You know, forever.
From the realm. Right, he's an incredible hammer dulcimer. He's an incredible drummer and percussionist.
He is a hammer dulcimer.
He is a human hammer dulcimer, and he's on a Phish record. I think I think he's on a couple, or he knows those guys maybe better than any of us. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's got a thank you credit on one of the records. I'm pretty sure I've read Jamie Janover, and I know he sat in and he knows them from way back in the day. Okay, Newberry was right there. So many great record stores. Bibbled. All right, we're all okay. You totally UB40'd. Yep. Okay.
Because you might recall that Kara and Jamie, when we met them both at Dot's Diner, they had a thing. I mean, we're all wrapped up in so, and Jamie was like my boss at Sonic Bloom for forever. You know, we did all the. You totally UB40'd, Kara says.
I did.
Yeah, it's a very deep and beautiful community web.
Well, you know, we're gonna get into it because this band has. So we're here to talk about Phish, and here's the stage that we're gonna set. This week, 3 days ago, there was a piece written in.
I'm gonna pour my wine.
New Yorker. Go for it. There was a piece written in the New Yorker. Written by a young gal, I assume. She must not be that young because she's. She must be a.
And we drank a little wine. She's a human, and she's clearly a Phish head. Is it like we're all?
I don't think so. Actually, I don't think she's a Phish head. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I know we'll be able to find out definitively.
Maybe she's head adjacent.
She's converted. She's definitely. She's been converted, but she wasn't. I think she was suspicious of what she might have was getting into. In fact, my homie Michael Warren, who is my only Phish homie here in Japan, who I run the Dog Log with. We have another YouTube channel called the Dog Log. I'll drop the link in the chat here. He I asked, let's see, where's the Dog Log? The Dog Log is just getting off the ground, but it's a place where we're going to hang out and talk about our love for this band. And we've just got, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen episodes up there. But he had sent me a little teaser like 3 months ago that was like, yo, did you hear there's a 30,000 word essay getting, somebody's working on a 30,000 essay for the New Yorker. So it was out there that
I didn't
people were
even
talking
know.
about it. Yeah. We got a teaser about it like months ago. And so, and
Oh.
this must be it. So do you want to take a stab at this gal's name?
Amanda Petrusich.
Amanda Petrusich. We got to find out about her.
Well,
Amanda
can drop in at some point and tell us how old she is, if she's a real head.
Oh my God.
Because here's my thing. When you're a writer, of course, you want to have a sort of like, I would imagine for the New Yorker, a little bit of like narrative distance with your perspective. But there are like some passages that led me to think she is ahead, or she's on her way. I mean,
she has head receptors, I think.
I think
she had the Portlandia gal from what's her name? From what's the band's name?
Rocker Girl.
She went down of Phish rabbits. Like she gave them an honest shake. And I think and she kind of fell out on the other side. And I think Amanda did the same. She was like, okay, I'm going to come here with no judgment. Name,
Bri?
I know.
What's her name? It's her and dude Fred and
somebody drop it in the chat, please.
Somebody drop it. Her band name. She's such a badass.
I know.
Her band is awesome. Portlandia. All right. Have we even said
Carrie? I'm close. Carrie anyway.
Carrie anyway. Love you.
Okay. Well, so here's I read this thing, and my friend Michael sent it to me. I read half of it one day. I read a little bit the next day, and then I could not put it down. Once I got like toward somewhere in the middle, like I still had half of it to go, and it was going to take me an hour and a half to read. I could not stop reading it. It was so great, and I don't know how much I've read about the band, but I think she managed to hit the nail.
You read everything about the band.
No, I do not. Well, but I have to get my fix by being a million miles away. So that is part of the thing. And I was in stitches. I was in tears. When it got to the end, I was just like, it captured every little moment of, let me pull this. Let me make you big. What's this?
It's just Trey. As you're like going on about your tears,
Oh, there's the image. Yeah.
So dreamy. Trey massage is what we say when he plays a ballad.
What do you call him?
Me and Cara, when
Troy
like,
Pistachio.
No, we say Trey massage, like when he plays the ballads, when it's like dad rock after you've been like,
okay, all right,
so Trey massage.
Trey massage.
What? No, it's a great phrase. Come on. So
it's
have you
not
even
as good as Trable? Where did the Trable go, by the way?
That's like a foible.
The Trable's gone.
Okay, so our job tonight is, because you called me after you read it this morning from Tokyo at whatever time, you were like, we got to do this thing, we should read the essay and do a reaction video. And do you know what a reaction video is? And like, yes,
oh, come on.
I know, it's true. I told you I watch Walter Ruski, shout out. My son is 19, of course I know a reaction video, but we're gonna freaking read like 51 pages. We're gonna try.
Yeah, and we may eject. Like it's like a high school project. We're gonna take paragraph for paragraph, and we're gonna read this thing all the way through. And the thought that I had was that, well, one, we can like just deconstruct it a little bit and have fun talking about it. But the other thought that I had was that like anybody who was kind of Phish curious, I think something's happening. Like he says it, and you'll find it in here. Trey said like 4.0 Phish ain't got, or 1.0 Phish ain't got nothing on 4.0 Phish, which I was like, whoa, that's cool.
You haven't seen any 4.0 Phish, Brad.
Oh, come on. No, okay.
No, I mean, you do, like, not live.
We got to get you. Let's set that up. No, okay. So I have
Japan.
I've seen everything essentially since like basically 2009. I've seen, and whatever random shows we've seen before on Couch Tour. I watched 300 plus, maybe more shows on Couch Tour, and I'm there every time, and I'm texting you. So like, are you there tonight? You're like, yep, I'm here. And we're on Page side, Rage side. I'm like, she's there. And I'm watching on the. By the way, I'm suited up. I got my jersey on.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
I got some. I got my donuts on.
Oh,
okay.
Killer, bro! I love that.
Okay. I've suited up like my good luck socks, and I thought that like maybe somebody who like is curious, why the hell are these guys getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Maybe what's this moment? What is there a watershed? What's happening? And maybe this article will explain it to you. But I saw that you can listen. I think when I first read it, there wasn't an audio track available to listen to it, but now there is, and it seems to be 51 minutes, and that means it's going to take us 2 hours to read it. So we should get started.
All right. Well, I wanted to show off my Phish gear.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay. Wait. Oh yeah.
Phish Beatles.
So hold on. Let me see Phish Beatles. Hold on. I'm gonna make you
Phish
big.
Beatles. Tom.
Oh,
gotta
cool.
love that. Meet the Beatles, but Phish. So my first show, 94 Halloween, Beatles, epic. I mean, forever I am moved. And I just want to say this for the record, because this is so important to my Phish journey. That summer and fall of my junior year, before I saw Phish, me and all my bestie Green Team girls had all gotten our licenses, and everyone had the White Album in our cars. So everywhere we went, stoned, you're junior in high school in 94. Right. We would listen to the White Album. So to hear that at my first show, like an 8-hour show, was like, oh my God, my life was changed. I was in forever. So yeah, that
was your first show, Great Woods.
Man. No, not Great Woods.
Plattsville. What was it? What did you remind me of the venue?
Falls, baby,
Glens
New
Falls.
York.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, sorry, my bad. But my first show, I remember it is Red Rocks '94, which precedes your first show.
No, which is fine. I mean, this is Red Rocks. This is the Edge.
This is the Edge. Right,
you were there. No, all right,
I was there.
Put us both back on. I feel.
Sorry.
Called out.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we both go back to '94. I would have thought you'd go back even earlier, and I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just a spring chicken, You're older than me.
No. I've got 1 year barely on you.
I'll take it. We're getting old, dude.
Okay. All right. So here's shall we? You want to read a bit and then just pass the torch, and then once you get to a stopping point, I should pick it up. You want to do it like that, or you want to go paragraph for paragraph?
I thought we might go paragraph for paragraph and just kind of have a structure. So. You could pause it, let's see how it goes. Why don't you start?
No, you start. You're the guest. You start.
All right.
And I want to say there's a few vocabulary. This Amanda's a great writer.
Honestly,
and there's a couple of doozies
in
here.
Impressed. Yeah. There are some doozies.
If an English teacher among us is calling your writing with a few doozies in it, then we've got our work set out for us. So
no, it's fucking awesome, and I meant to go back and highlight those words and just sort of practice my pronunciation, ironically. But I think we're gonna do great. Like both of us, we're literate adults.
So let's just I'm not so much, but you've got. Yeah, you've got your stars and stripes. So I'm just a Yahoo over here. But let's stop. Sweet. And when we see something, if we see something that either of us wants to interrupt the other, let's just have a free for all and interrupt each other as we go. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Go for it.
Okay, I would suggest interrupt at the paragraph, unless it's a giant one. All right.
Sounds good.
Profiles from the New Yorker. After 40 years, Phish isn't seeking resolution. Oh, I love it. People who love Phish do so with a quasi-religious devotion. People who dislike Phish do so with an equal fervor. That is our byline. And here we go. Last August, Phish hosted a 4-day music festival at a racetrack in Dover, Delaware. It was called Mondegreen, the word for a misheard lyric or phrase. And it was the band's first festival since 2015. Phish, the singer and guitarist Trey Anastasio, the keyboardist Paige McConnell, the series of the bassist Mike Gordon, and the drummer John Fishman. We're scheduled to play at least 2 sets a night for 4 nights in a row. No other bands were on the bill. That's
Ooh.
for like the brand new now. Like I only heard of Phish once kind of thing. No other bands were on the bill. All right, you go.
They're never on the, it's only ever them that's on the bill. Although
I have an
Questlove
all
did
though
play.
too. The first time
Okay,
I saw
anyway.
the Slip was at the Great Went. That was amazing. But they played outside the festival grounds, and that was just so cool. Were you at the Great Went?
No, I broke down on my way there.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I was at Wolf Mountain though, says Bikini Basin. I was at Wolf Mountain. That was a
Yeah,
great show.
Bikini
That was
Basin.
the yellow era of Mike, the crop top, yellow shirt, yellow. He's brought it back a couple times. Okay, let's keep going. Mondegreen kicked off a Thursday. That afternoon, I joined a long line of cars inching through cornfields that surrounded the motorway. The horizon was wavy with exhaust. The sun was fluorescent. I gazed at the stalks, fantasizing about a Field of Dreams type scenario in which a ball player would emerge from the corn and offer me a sweating bottle of water. Eventually, I texted a friend who was already at the campground. He expressed his sympathies, then volunteered to deliver edible marijuana to my car. I demurred, but it nonetheless felt like an appropriate welcome. I would soon come to understand these two impulses, fellowship and oblivion, as central to the Phish experience. It's cool.
Honestly, I love that. This is a place where I think the author really hits it. Amanda Petrusich.
Fellowship and oblivion?
Yeah, fuck yeah. She's got these
Yeah.
great kind of like frameworks that I think kind of like tug at some of the like dichotomous nature of the band and why it's like so hard to tell like a normal person why you love these guys. But I think Fellowship and Oblivion is where it's at. It's like, yay, the camaraderie, like from the show perspective, a showgoer. And then like, don't fucking talk to me because I'm on my own cosmic spaceship in the music. So I really related to that.
That's an interesting point. Okay.
All right. Oh
Onward.
boy. I get a big paragraph, Bri. Look at this one. It's a full pager.
We gotta go. It's gonna take us forever.
Okay,
So just keep going.
I will do the history. Phish formed in 1983 in Burlington, Vermont, when its founding members were in their late teens. The band is now a singular American institution, less for its studio albums, there are 16, including Evolve from 2024, than for its storied live shows. Bernie Sanders, recently told me, love him, Phish is one of the great American rock bands, and they represent a lot of what I love about Vermont. They create community, experiment creatively, and have an enormous amount of discipline around their music. The band's accolades are endless. Since 1997, Phish has had its own flavor of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Phish food, chocolate with fudge fish, and swirls of marshmallow and caramel. Its tours are ranked among the highest grossing in the world, and its philanthropic arm, the Water Wheel Foundation, whoop whoop, has donated more than $9 million to 500 nonprofit organizations. For New Year's Eve, 1999, Y2K, the trembling eve of the new millennium, some 80,000 Phish fans journeyed to a Seminole reservation just south of Lake Okeechobee in Florida for Big Cypress, which was the largest concert in the world that night, eclipsing offerings from Metallica, Barbra Streisand, Eminem, and Jimmy Buffett. Quick pause, lot of commas, love it. The band played from just before. Commas. I know. I'm like, oh girl, okay. Like fucking New Yorker commas, loving that. I'm an English teacher if we didn't say that yet. So there are things I'm gonna say that like move me. All right, okay. The band played from just before midnight until after sunrise. Part of the show was broadcast live on ABC News. Peter Jennings repeatedly referred to the band as the Phish.
The Phish.
Now, quick pause. I didn't go. Did you?
To Big Cypress? No, I wasn't at Big Cypress.
Okay, me neither. But I do remember there was something about like a cheesecake chant, something like that when it went live. I don't know. I was up in the Steamboat that night. I don't know. Okay. Okay. This year, Phish was nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, dominating the fan vote. A parenthetical is gonna, she's got these parentheses, fucking awesome. A 15-foot foam hot dog, which the band piloted around Boston Garden on New Year's Eve '94. I was there, while tossing confetti, is already suspended in an atrium at the Hall of Fame. The band operates its own streaming platform, Live Phish, which offers soundboard recordings of every show Phish has ever played since 2002, and live audio from as far back as 1989. In early March, at an all-star benefit concert at the Beacon Theater in New York, oh, this was so cute, I watched Cher casually toss an arm around Anastasia as they perform Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground, a gesture of affirmation that is impossible to quantify, but nonetheless felt like a kind of anointing. Mind absolutely fucking blown, Anastasio texted me afterwards.
He's so gracious with his,
Oh,
I
so
know
is
he's so.
she's like in her leather pants, like loving our guy, our
She can
Trayvon.
love on anybody
Oh
though,
my
but like that was
God.
so
That
well,
was
it was
so great.
magnanimous of her, but she was but he says like, absolutely fucking blown away. That is not something that, the guys in Oasis would say. That's not something that,
That's hilarious.
that's
Yes,
great.
yes.
Okay. People who love Phish do so with devotion that is quasi-religious, deep, eternal, and rhapsodic. Despite, people who dislike Phish do so with equal fervor, often while making jokes about the degenerative effects of LSD on the prefrontal cortex. Oh no, I think some hard words are coming for me. This divisiveness speaks in part to the band's abiding disinterest in capitulating to the zeitgeist. Jeez, that's a sentence.
I know, right? Capitulating to the zeitgeist.
Abiding disinterest in capitulating to the zeitgeist. Okay, here we go. The
That's
barrier.
why it's in the New Yorker. That's
I
why
loved
she's
it.
writing for her audience. I think I like mad respect. Hell yeah.
I liked it. Okay.
Yeah,
The
me
barrier
too.
to the barrier to entry is high. That's part of the problem a little bit. Not it's high. If you haven't been here since 1994, it's a little bit tricky to get caught up. You got to know a lot. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to know.
Not going to argue with that statement.
To experience the phenomenon and on any significant level, you need to see the band live, probably more than once. One show will not give you what this band is all about.
I mean, 200 shows is not going to give you what this band is all. It's like main vein kind of stuff. Yeah.
The songs will be complicated and partly improvised. There will be 2 sets with a 20-minute break in between. There will not be much in the way of banter, though there will be a light show designed by the band's longtime lighting director, Chris Kuroda. Shout out CK5.
Woo-hoo!
You might hear a song in which the phrase "gotta jaboo" is repeated far more often than you'd like.
Phish requires commitment, a subversive idea in our moment of minuscule attention spans. Even the songs that go viral on TikTok, a platform that already demands a kind of maniacal concision, often have their tempos increased in order to arrive at the hook sooner. Yet Phish fans embrace searching 40-minute jams with enthusiasm. True story, that's me. The band has built this world largely outside the architecture of the music industry with minimal radio airplay, mainstream press, or strategic marketing. Quote, the other day, my wife and I watched the Grammys, McConnell, the keyboardist, told me. It was a really good show, so much young talent. Then the whole thing ended, and I thought, it feels so strange how completely disconnected I am from this. It's not as if I have a desire to be a part of it, but it's odd. But how odd is it that I'm in the music business and really successful in the music business, and I have absolutely zero to do with this?
That's the first quote that jumps out at anybody who's like invested in the band. That's just like, that's so insightful. We all know that, but this band is one of the most, high grossing touring bands. They can draw one of the biggest crowds, and yet they're completely off of the radar of everybody else. And they have absolutely nothing to do with mainstream music. It's so cool. And there's so much street cred that you get with building your band that way.
Yeah, 100%.
I remember after we got signed to Elektra around 93, Anastasio said, we were developing this crowd that was nuts for the band in our own self-supporting bubble. I went into the label's office with this record, Rift. Shout out Rift. And the A&R rep said, it's not just that I hate this music. I don't just hate it. I refuse to work this record. And then they handed me the new Frank Black record. I love Frank Black, with the one with Los Angeles. And they said, go home and listen to this if you want to hear what cool music sounds like. Our band is not cool, okay?
I mean, cool. Maybe so, maybe not, Bri.
Anastasia laughed. I was like, look, we all love the Pixies, right? That's what I just said. But what do you do? What do you want me to do with that? It represented this fear. Like, we're so out of step with what's cool and what's happening.
Quick moment. I mean, I've heard Trey tell this story before, and I think like the most ironic part is like, fuck that girl. And also Rift is like, I mean, that's the portal that got me into Phish. I don't know about you, but I fell asleep
for sure
to that album for years and years and years, and I had it really low so I wouldn't wake up my parents, and then the bring, and then like the end of that. I mean, it's like as deep as it goes for, I think, like our age Phish head. If you didn't like, Rift is just, can you imagine?
How'd you get Rift? How'd you get it?
At the CD shop at the record store.
How did you know to get it?
Oh, I went to camp, Jewish camp, where so many people got exposed to Phish from counselors. And then besties, like stoner older brothers. You know, Maggie, my bestie who lives out in like Green Tea, Maggie, her older brother Ryan, and the other older brother Sean. We just would sit around and like listen to music, smoke pot. I mean, that's how I got Zappa in me. It's like everything comes from Hungry Horse Hollow in the 90s and that crew. Green Tea. How about you? I mean, you were in Tulsa.
Somebody gave it to me. Yeah, we must have got it the same summer, which I was like, you know, it was just that same discovery. It was playing music, playing guitars, sitting around, discovering Neil Young, then discovering like Jim Morrison, and then getting, got to the Dead and the Jimmy Hen, and just eventually found our way to the Dead. And then it was like, oh, this new thing's happening. And I think I probably got the Dead and Phish the same summer. And it was like, okay, these are the old guys, these are the young guys.
Yeah. And Skeletons in the Closet, Rift, maybe Steve Miller Band, Greatest Hits. What else was like rocking then?
Well, there was also like Nirvana and House of Pain and Beasties and Smashing Pumpkins. There was a lot going on.
So true. Can you imagine if like Rift had never happened, if like Trey was like, oh, I'm gonna go home and cry, they said they didn't like it, like fuck yeah, Trey.
Well, Hoist is on Elektra too, and is Billy Breeze on Elektra? All three of those records are all freaking amazing. Those are probably my three favorite records.
All right, speaking of Elektra, should we get back into it?
Go.
We're only on page 7 of 51.
Let's go.
I remember after we got signed to Elektra around 93.
I just read that one. You can read the next one. Phish fans.
No. Oh, you did.
I just read that one. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Phish fans have been characterized, perhaps ungenerously, as burnouts who wish only to stand around in parking lots, huffing nitrous oxide from balloons. At Mondegreen, when I finally emerged from my car, I found that stereotype. Good Lord. I found that stereotype both challenged and corroborated. The air was heavy with cannabis vapor and leg sweat. So funny. Like, what leg sweat versus like boob sweat, armpit sweat is so funny. The crowd felt culturally, if not particularly racially diverse. Men, women, young, old, sober, plastered, minor felons, investment bankers, minorly felonious investment bankers. Love that. To be fair, there is sort of a type. T-shirt, tie-dyed. Pupils, dilated. Merch, bootleg. Haircut, surely not. This category of Phish enthusiasts is referred to as a wook, a term that evolved from Wookiee, the big, brutish, hairy creatures from Star Wars. It is now applied to anyone who has not visited the shower trailer and is desperately trying to bum a cig.
A Phish show is always a kind of homecoming. If you are there, you are received. The band has been hosting festivals since 1996, when it put on the Clifford Ball, a multi-dimensional extravaganza. Carnival rides, circus performers, aerial stunts at Plattsburgh Air Force Base in upstate New York. Phish played 7 sets over 2 nights, including an instrumental jam that it performed while rolling through the parking lot on the back of a flatbed truck at 3:30 a.m. To learn about the flatbed jam, as it came to be known, is to hear about the kind of mystical visitation. One history published on Phish.net reads like an account of a UFO sighting.
I loved this. It's so great.
Okay. The dimly glowing scene continued to crawl, just faster than walking speed. I remember that they had to there was people who were like pushing them out of the way.
You
move
were
along,
there.
move along.
I wasn't
No, I
there.
wasn't, but I've seen it. It's in a video
wow.
somewhere. Okay.
I love it.
The dimly glowing scene continued to crawl, just faster than walking speed, around the south edge of the parking lot, then briefly north near the lot entrance before circling back. More than 70,000 people attended the Clifford Ball, making it the biggest rock concert in the U.S. that year. A Times headline read, "Small Adirondack town is the host of a giant concert." Adirondack.
New York. It's the New York place.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
Adirondacks.
Adirondacks. You got to say it like you're going to
I'm
camp. The
not
Adirondacks,
okay,
honey.
Adirondack.
All right, there you go.
Is it? Am I still going? Is it still me?
No, I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
in the
okay. In the decades that following the Clifford Ball, the popularity of music festivals exploded, a trend Phish inadvertently helped engineer. In the early 2000s, the founder of Bonnaroo, when planning their first event, reached out to Phish for guidance. Yet Mondegreen, which was attended by around 38,000 people, felt spiritually distant from happenings such as Coachella, where calculated preening is both the central pleasure and the purpose. People came to Delaware for Phish.
Mondegreen also featured a variety of non-musical attractions, including a Ferris wheel, a farmer's market, a post office, a record store, a radio station, Shout Out Bunny, live comedy, yoga classes, and a spa offering beard trims and IV hydration. I sort of love that. There were a dozen mostly site-specific art installations, including a 23-foot internally lit moon suspended over a clearing. The piece by Luke Jerram was titled Museum of the Moon and featured an ambient score composed by Dan Jones. An enormous cardboard structure designed by the French artist Olivier Grosset called City Hall. Sorry, Olivier, my bad. Was assembled by volunteers on the first day using tape and nearly 2,000 cardboard boxes. It was amazing. I didn't go, but like the pictures, holy shit. Once complete, it stood more than 80 feet high and weighed almost 2 tons. On Saturday afternoon, it was rigged with ropes and deliberately toppled. At the Serialist Bowl, a bizarre Salvador Dali meets Lewis Carroll's speakeasy tucked away in the woods. I watched a guy on a gurney entomb himself in cotton candy, the sugary pink wisp blown onto his body by a fan. There was a porta potty that led to a planetarium. There was a 74-foot retro futuristic viewing tower called the Heliograph. On Sunday, Questlove performed a DJ set from the top, pulling his vinyl from a cooler. It was hot. There was even a tattoo parlor where fans could immortalize the experience with the silhouette of Anastasio's face or an iteration of the band's logo. I met a sweet couple there, Graham and Erica, who had just got engaged and were about to have matching donuts tattooed on their ring fingers.
That's commitment. That's love.
That's love.
Graham, who was 46, guessed that he had been to 150 Phish shows. Erica, 45, thought that her count was around 200. They met in 1998 at a Phish concert in Chicago. We've both been through a lot of shit, Erica said. We've known each other for a long time, but we weren't ready before this. We weren't ready for this before now. This is kind of, yeah. Okay, keep going.
It's hard. I know. We're just humans. Like literally,
we each read this once maniacally and now we're like performing this like
the last paragraph that you read
New Yorker recitation. It's freaking awesome.
With the Salvador Dali, the Serialist Bowl. I don't even remember reading that actually. It's kind of fun to like read it again because I don't.
That was one of my favorite paragraphs.
Did you see pictures of that guy like entombed in cotton candy?
No.
Or any videos? Oh,
no,
dude.
I gotta look that up. Okay.
All right. Someone will send you. Somebody send Brian a video of that guy.
Please. Okay.
All right. It's hard to say exactly when donuts entered Phish lore, but since the mid-'80s, John Fishman, the drummer, has worn a tunic, it's a dress really, printed with colorful rings. On some metaphysical level, the food simply suits the band. The connection was cemented in 2017 when Phish played 13 consecutive shows at Madison Square Garden, a feat dubbed the Baker's Dozen. Each night was themed around a different flavor of donut. On Boston Cream Night, the band played a medley of tracks by the bands Boston and Cream. On Jam-Filled Night, the band went long even by Phish standards, stretching 2 tracks into 30-odd-minute jams. Each Phish set list is unique, but for this particular run, the band didn't repeat a single tune, 237 different songs in less than 2 weeks. Not repeating songs is at the core of what Phish is, Anastasio said. There were people who went to every single show. Shout out Brian Gonzalez. On the final night, a banner commemorating the achievement was lifted to the rafters where it still hangs next to Billy Joel's.
Graham and Erica kissed. The tattooist clapped. Phish took the stage. Shall I keep going?
No, keep going. Okay. I was wondering.
Phish took the stage around 7 p.m. on Thursday. Anastasio, who had turned 60 the following month, remains youthful and spry, doesn't he? Though with rimless glasses, a flop of red hair, and gently graying beard. The donuts on Fishman's tunic were emerald green. Gordon and McConnell each occupied a side of the stage. After 40-some years, the members of Phish remain earnestly and improbably enamored with one another.
I love that.
I know. Whenever I told Anastasio that I was doing something with one of his bandmates, he would say, without guile, "I love that guy." Oh, I thought he was going to say, I want to be a part of it. Okay. Part of the band's emotional tenor has to do with the parody built into its sound. Any one of the 4 of us could be leading the moment, McConnell said. For a few bars, the bass will be doing something extraordinary, and we're all following Mike around. Then it'll be Phish. It just gets passed around between the 4 of us. The members' equanimity does not stem only from musical synchronicity. We were able to afford to get our own hotel room. This is a good one. We were able to get our own hotel rooms just in time, Fishman joked. We were able to afford a road crew to help us move equipment just in time. Yeah, they were probably for 40 years. I mean, it's like the Beatles they barely were like even 15 years. They were.
I mean, flash in a pan. What do they call it? Flash in a pan, I think. Compared to like the longevity of Phish. Yeah. Also, very different situation, of course. I mean, it's not a parallel comparison, but
Well, they disaster averted. They were clever
multiple times. Yes,
they were clever about how they've endured. Okay, you go. Is it me or is it you? You go.
No, I think it's me. I'm on page 13 of 51. I printed landscape. I don't know what you did. Okay. All right. The band opened with The MoMA Dance, a Mondegreen appropriately. The actual lyric is "The moment ends," or is it? I had last seen Phish in 1997 at Hampton Coliseum in Virginia when I was 17. Okay, but when's how old were you the last time you saw Phish?
I was
couch touring too.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Be couch touring too.
I don't remember reading that. Okay, so she was at Hampton Comes Alive, which that's 97. Hampton Comes Alive, I'm sure, right?
I don't know. Joe used to have like a
that's the one.
Box
the
set? 6. Yeah. Remember with the CDs and you slide them
I have multiple copies of it. Yeah, they're awesome.
I love it.
They won the Grammy. They won the Grammy for the box design. It's the only time the band has ever won a Grammy for
Show
anything.
It to us.
It's right here. There it is. Hampton Comes Alive.
Yeah, that's it. Oh God, that was good.
Yeah. Frampton comes alive, Hampton, like that's the gap.
Oh my God, no, really?
Oh, come on.
No,
I love it.
like.
I love it. I love
Stop.
it. You can just like, you can never, it can, all this stuff can sneak under your nose for like the entire.
It's like a mondegreen, like the topic of my paragraph. Stop. Don't
Hampton
stop
comes
ever.
alive. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, okay, love that. Love that. This is why this is a good project for us. Okay. I had last seen Phish in 1997 at Hampton Coliseum in Virginia when I was 17. Hampton is referred to as the mothership, largely because it resembles an enormous spacecraft. 27 years later, some things felt familiar, others were new. Anastasio is vehemently uninterested in Phish becoming a nostalgia act. The band's set contained a mixture of songs that it has been playing since the 80s and more recent material, including That Night, What's Going Through Your Mind, which Anastasio wrote last year. 8 days earlier, the band had played it live for the first time at a show in Grand Rapids with the bluegrass prodigy Billy Strings joining on guitar and vocals. Anastasio sometimes collaborates on lyrics with his childhood friend Tom Marshall. Shout out, Tom. And the results tend to be intricate and fantastical. His solo writing, however, has become considerably less abstract and more confessional in research. Excuse me. In recent years. In A Wave of Hope, a boisterous song from Evolve, he sings about a kind of spiritual exorcism. The pillow drowns the moans. When Anastasio, I don't know, where does that happen? In Wave of Hope?
The pillow drowns the moans. It's the first line. It's the very first line.
No, from out of the chaos, a wave appears in the moonlit confusion.
I can't remember.
Oh, the pillow drowned moans. I love dancing that one. That always makes me want to do like a little like 60s
shimmy,
like pony shimmy, a little pony groove. It's a really fun one. Okay. In A Wave of Hope, a boisterous song from Evolve, he sings about a kind of spiritual exorcism. The pillow drowns the moans. Hot, maybe, kind of. When Anastasia sang the line on Thursday, I know his voice was nearly cheerful. That's what I'm saying. The crowd went bananas.
At one point, a friend leaned in. At one point, a friend leaned in to make an observation. It was quick, and he was speaking quietly, but we were immediately shushed by a dude who appeared seemingly out of nowhere, holding his hands, palms forward, saying, "Please, please, please." He made his way down the line, shushing in every direction. In jam parlance, talking during the set is known as chomping. And is humbling thing to be caught doing. The expectation that tens of thousands of people hanging around an old NASCAR track would be library quiet for 3+ hours felt slightly deranged to me. But such is the cult of Phish. Such is the cult of Phish.
Fuck yeah, cult of Phish. I don't know. I kind of love how like our author is defining these like very culturally specific like kind of Phish points that like for all of us are like, fucking chompers, you know who you are, friends. But it's
you're a chomper. You're the fucking chomper.
No, don't fucking no.
Come on.
Dude,
you're a chomper.
Kara Uchi, if you are still watching, am I a chomper? I think not. I'm like, no, I tell people,
okay, keep going. I take it back.
Thank you. I am not a chomper. That yeah, Deb says in my Phish thread, that's us, Wendy. Deb and Wendy are chompers.
Hold on, there's more comments. I'm not seeing them. Are there comments that you said?
I don't even know how many people are watching. No.
Okay,
I'm sure. Oh shit.
You're okay.
I just went somewhere.
We gotta get cooking, Andrea. We got to get cooking on this.
All right. Okay. Chompers. Hey, we're on page 14. During my days at Mondegreen, I came to love this about the community. The music is worshipped, but elsewhere there is an undercurrent of lawlessness and benevolent revolution. One morning, I took a photo of a large black flag blowing proudly in the breeze. This is awesome.
I'm not looking forward to reading this.
Oh, I'll read it. I'll read it. Quit your job. Go on tour, bang a wook, sell grilled cheese, boof a crystal, live in a van, never return. Do you want me to read the
I
next
like the
paragraph?
never return. Yeah,
Never
sure.
return.
All around us institute.
Oh, you go.
Oh, you read it. Go. No, go.
No, I thought you
Insist.
were feeling.
Keep
Okay.
going.
All
No, I don't
around
wanna read
us, institutions were failing. Why not bang a wook and never return? I had to text
Right?
a friend to I had to text a friend to decipher the line about the crystal. What does boff a crystal mean? I carefully typed into my phone. He replied immediately, all caps, boof, Amanda, boof. This is where you put drugs in your ass. Though the scene is peaceful and loving, there's a lot of rebellion baked in. Do what you want, except chomping.
The crowded Phish show dances. Should I leave it at that? There are a few common styles, including the floppy puppet. Picture somebody distractedly operating a marionette. And
Just
the
like
invisible
Esther.
surfboard. Feet planted, knees bent, with arms akimbo. People get loose and they have a blast. There was a striking lack of cell phone usage both during the show and on the festival grounds. Attendees were encouraged to keep up with the news by reading the Daily Greens. I love that. A paper produced and distributed on site. At one point, the Mondegreen app sent a notification. Good morning. You should not be on your phone so much. Phish's earliest festivals were held in obscure and off-the-grid locales between 1997 and 2003. He'd hosted 3 events in Limestone, Maine, a town of about 1,500 people near the Canadian border, like the furthest place you can get away from anywhere. And the band is still intent on creating such an immersive and self-contained experience that, Anastasia said, people have no choice but to come out the other end having shared something. I love that. They have no choice but to come out the other end having shared something. That's what I feel like Amanda kind of came out. She couldn't help but come out of this thing. Okay, fine. Maybe she was on board early on, but there was a couple moments where I just was like, okay, she's not totally sold, but she's come out on the other end having shared something with us. So you're one of us, Amanda, whether you want to be or not.
I think she's down. She like the writing
I'm probably
reflects.
misjudging.
I just think it's really a respectful like kind of balance of like, let me educate the New Yorker audience, let me not offend all the Phish heads who are going to read this. I think she does such a great job. All right, here we go. It turns out that all these things, the unplugging, the dancing, the utter lack of corporate branding, matter. The vibes were so solid. Since the mid 90s, when it became more common for amphitheaters to plaster barricades and other surfaces with advertising, Phish has been vigilant about covering up any audience facing billboards, a job that can require a cherry picker and some scrupulously draped fabric. For many artists, the richer they get, the more entangled they become with corporations. Phish has adopted the opposite approach. The money buys the band freedom. There might have been a fantasy or individual fantasies about having a hit song on the radio, Gordon told me. We didn't want to make music that was so quirky no one would want to crank it up at a party, but maybe having this unique experience every night is bigger than having a hit song feeling. Like, I really love that.
That's cool, right?
Yeah, it totally is.
That's what they've done. All of what they've created is equal to a gajillion hits on the radio, and in fact, it's even better. Anastasio, a voracious consumer of new music, MJ Letterman, oh goodness, Waxatachi, The Japanese House, Mitski, Mannequin Pussy. He writes songs constantly, almost compulsively. He showed me the voice memos on his phone, an endless scroll of ideas, composed early in the morning over coffee on the piano in his apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Sometimes he sent me sketches. Once, when I told him I was making chili, he wrote me a little song about stirring the pot.
Oh, don't you love that? So there's like 2 things. One, who knew that Trey sketches? It's like, like the John, you're a total Beatles head, but like the John Lennon sketches, like what are Trey's sketches? Or the Jerry sketches, totally.
The Jerry sketches.
And then also, I love that stirring the pot song. Like, Amanda, like, give it up, turn it loose, sister. We want to hear that.
Do we know the turning the pot song? Do we know it? Is it a song?
No,
or is
I
it
think
just
I think it's like the Heather McDougall song, like something out of nowhere, just like a little happy jingle.
Which, do you know, I think I went to high school with Heather McDougal before she was a McDougal. I think she
Oh, that's
played on
funny.
my bestie's soccer team growing up. So just heads up, Heather McDougal. All right. Do you want to keep going or should I go?
You go. I think
Okay.
it's your turn. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Though Phish is considered what is this? I don't know what this means. Your jam band of its era. How do you say that? You are.
I'm not sure. I didn't know what that meant
You
either.
are jam. Jam. Is it like urgent?
Uber jam? Uber?
Mine, I don't know. How's it spelled on UR-JAM? Though Phish is considered the jam band of its era. I don't know. Many of its more outra improvisations remind me of Brian Eno. Fuck yes. Cinematic, elegant, soft, dreamy, modern. Do we love that sentence or what? I love that. In general, it's challenging to ascribe genre to Phish. One night over dinner at Cafe Carmelini in New York, Anastasio and I shared a dish called duck, duck, duck tortellini, which led us to revisit a conversation which I had repeatedly confused Goose, a jam band from Connecticut, and Geese, a post-punk band from Brooklyn. Anastasio found this very funny. He likes and relates to punk. He is less sure what exactly jam band connotes beyond too much soloing. He told me the term didn't exist in my formative years. It's possible its creation had something to do with us. But when I saw Fugazi in Burlington in 1989, I remember thinking, these guys are thinking exactly the way I'm thinking. We played a show in 1992 with Firehose, Fishbone, and the Beastie Boys in a parking lot at UMass. Shout out UMass, alma mater. We felt like we were planting a flag too. Quote, I remember seeing Phish and being impressed that they were on stage with a full-size B3 organ, Mike D of the Beastie Boys told me. There were a bunch of New England collegiate and hippie types all watching, knowing this band that I had never heard of. I respect them, Ian McKay of Fugazi said of Phish. They've always been iconoclastic. They do these festivals on their own. It's insane. I've never seen Phish, but I am not surprised that they were at that show. We could be much farther apart.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, when they played LA, all these celebrities, and like rock star people were there, and you can't help but be in awe. And Metallica has that silly quote where they're backstage at the show and they're like, did you hear that Phish played 13 nights at the MSG? And they didn't repeat a single song. And they're like, oh my God, no way. Right?
They were like, that's fucking insane. Yeah, I did see that. Actually, Tool
you can bag on them all you want.
Yeah, what, on Metallica? I love Metallica.
No, I'm saying anybody can bag on Phish all they want, but the thing that people don't understand, or the thing that I think that they just seem like it's gratuitous jamming, but it's there's an interview where Trey says you don't see the hard work, you don't see the hours upon hours of and you don't hear the atonal fugues that are in it. You just hear it as a silly band, but there's so much musicality in the band, and to knock it as like some stinky hippie thing is really to lose out yourself on an amazing opportunity to musical appreciation.
Did you say
Ian McKay?
Fugue?
I think I get to read it a little, or one of us is going to get to read it a little
exciting.
bit later.
All right, cool.
But the fact that Fugazi is, they're on Fugazi's radar, they're on, Beastie Boys radar, they're on Taylor Swift was at the show, and
what? Taylor Swift went to see Phish. Vanessa Hudgens,
Taylor Swift, and Kanye were at they were in LA. Anyway, yeah.
Drew Carey, he's a big fan, Bri.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. Okay. Right. On the second night of Mondegreen, the band played a surprise third set. The members set up behind a screen featuring projections by Moment Factory, a design studio known for its immersive, trippy environments. The 50-minute instrumental improvisation that followed would come to be known as the Mondegreen Ambient Jam. A Phish jam is usually preceded by an enormous amount of preparation. The Mondegreen Jam was divided into 7 parts, and each was assigned a key: an image, organic architecture, shape-shifting, trees, and an energy level, a number between 1 and 10. Despite the planning, there were PDFs. It
Love
still
that.
required what it still required what Anastasio called a willingness to fail right in front of people. That's what we are doing right now. That's why I'm inspired to call you and do this right now. That's what inspires me to like do everything in life.
I'm so with you. I feel like that in the May days. I feel like that at school every day. Like, honestly, the best part of being a human in this life is like just fucking failing and like doing it again. You
Getting
learn
it up.
so much. And it's just like you're human. You're not going to be perfect. Just like accept that. And like, what is it? Not fail royally. There was some advice that Trey gave Ben and Jerry when they came on to sing Brother. Oh, strong
they
and
sang.
wrong. Strong and wrong. They're like, don't worry, strong and wrong. You guys got this. I love that. That's like deep in my like philosophy.
I never heard that before.
Of life. No,
That's
it's so
funny.
Yeah.
They were strong and they were wrong.
Yeah.
You've heard that one before, right? It's awful, but it's fun. And
The Brother where they sing, yeah.
No, God, it's awful, but it's fun.
All right.
That's okay. Here we go. Let's see.
A willingness to fail.
He finds parameters generative. I love this too. You know, parameters are generative. It's okay. If I know what the image is, flying saucers in blue air or whatever, and I know what the key is, and I know the level of intensity, then I get handed a guitar. Those limits allow me to play with raw emotion, which is what everyone responds to anyway, he said. The theory is art lives by limitation. You develop a theme. You can go backward, forward, stretch it out, but don't keep bringing in more material. At one point, he was playing 2 guitars, an acoustic set to open up to an open tuning and place in a stand and an electric simultaneously. I don't remember that. The feeling in the crowd was a kind of dazed submission. It was late. People were woozy. Oh, this is the ambient jam. The band remained concealed behind the scrim. I stood there vibrating at times. It sounded like Aphex Twin or William Basinski or Eno, but more human, less synthesized.
Oh, this is where I really feel like she has enough words to really capture, I think, what in so many articles, you know, there's such like short format that to get at the real feeling, like this is just really beautiful. And I was thinking about this too, like you do Pechakucha, and Pechakucha is kind of like this format. It's got limitation, it's got time, you've got your images, and in that constraint is the like joy of the presentation. Freedom. You and I worked on a little bit of that. It's just so cool. Like, art. All right. Since 1992, Gordon has kept a list in his journal titled Bass Playing Thoughts. Many entries read like Cohen's. A high note can be felt as low, repeated. It has been a useful repository for his own self-reflection. Acceptance has been a big theme for Phish over the years, he said. In the 90s, we had a thing where we would get backstage between sets and talk about the set. And then we decided that wasn't allowed anymore. For me, the shows got twice as good at that point because I knew that I wasn't going to be judged.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was this whole thing where... Yeah, they just stopped talking about it because it would be like, oh, I thought that was so great. And like, oh, I thought that was shit. And then there was like all this like chatter in their heads. I think Trey's talked about that. I'll just finish this.
There's the scene in Bitters. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, talk about it. Bittersweet Motel.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, we just played the worst set of our lives. He walks off one of the sets and says that. And then he walks out a second later and he's like, I played like James Brown on his worst night, you know? Remember that?
Yeah,
anyway.
That was funny. Fishman paraphrased Charlie Parker, master. Study and learn everything you can, and then forget that shit and play. That ambient jam is the safest, most comfortable place I know in life.
Jealous of those guys. It's like hang gliding, and it's in the sense that you do all kinds of preparation to make sure you're safe, You check your gear, you tighten the knots, Anastasio said, but you still have to jump off a cliff, he added. You're never going to find 4 people who are happier diving off a cliff than the 4 guys in Phish. Beautiful.
And it's so fun to like dive with them, honestly. There's a particular moment that Phish fans wait for here. This is like my favorite part of the article and my favorite part of Phish. It doesn't happen at every show, and it's difficult to describe without sounding as though you've been a whiff too cavalier with your dosing. But here goes. There is sometimes a brief yet transcendent stretch occurring maybe 10 or 12 or even 20 minutes into a jam in which the band achieves a kind of otherworldly synchronicity, both internally and with its audience. This kind of moment, though mysterious, has been an essential and meaningful part of the band's gestalt since the beginning. I felt it during the Mondegreen Jam, a short but delightful vacation from my corporeal self. Oh.
Welcome aboard. Oh, wait, there's something more here on this paper. Musically, Phish braids 3 major elements: formal composition, improvisation, and despite what you may have heard, pop hooks. I loved this so much. Fervent fans tend to favor the more sprawling songs, but the band's most streamed tracks, Farmhouse, Sample in the Jar, Bouncing Around the Room, are bona fide earworms. These elements might appear to be in opposition to one another, but the band's capacity to hold them in balance is arguably its defining achievement. There are 3 crucial, all 3 are crucial in different ways to whatever trapdoor occasionally opens up mid-set. Anastasio and I spent dozens of hours parsing the physics of it. Last night got so deep, he texted me one morning after Phish had played its second of 4 shows at Moon Palace, a resort in the Riviera Maya in Mexico. Gratitude, emotions, heavy hurt, anger, explosions, safe space to letting feelings go, fear, confusion. Sometimes the guitar is the only place it's safe to let that out. He pointed me toward a particular jam during 20 Years Later, the track that closes Joy, the band's 12th album from 2009. It's hard not to understand the lyrics which Anastasia wrote with Tom Marshall, a rejoinder to excess. I can hold my breath for a minute or so. 5 days without food is as long as I'll go. I didn't sleep once for 4 days and 3 nights. I once didn't stop for 7 red lights.
Around 5 minutes in, you can hear the band members find one another and begin to coalesce. Phish is generally oriented towards euphoria, but there are instances, I'm so glad I get to read this paragraph. There are instances in which it gets dark, brooding, nearly carnal. It's probably my favorite part of like the whole article. Fans refer to this as evil Phish. Fucking best. That's why we all come. That's why all the old people come. The most consistently beloved example of evil Phish is Carini, a creepy, taunting song that has never appeared on an album. It opens with a vicious riff and an ominous lyric. I saw you with Carini and that naked dude. 20 Years Later is a hopeful song, but the jam got heavy. Quote, often there's a moment when it feels like the safety rails fall off, Anastasia wrote to me. We lose any sense of time passing. Then I feel safe letting people see how I actually feel, which is terrified a lot of the time. Around 8 minutes, it starts to feel like my heart is wide open. It feels like pure emotion when the music gets like that. No sense of notes, scales, just energy. He added, it's why people come. And honestly, like that's why I'm going to Portland this weekend. Yes.
It chokes me up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this thing without choking up. It's so powerful. Being somebody who like lives a million miles away from it, I have to like, watch it on a screen, which I can have a really cathartic, amazing, beautiful experience. And so much so that I almost like I'm terrified of the live experience. I like actually don't want to go to the live experience, to be honest, in a way. I mean, I could just as easily maybe be comfortable on couch, but you're not really engaged completely when you're obviously, your feet are up on the desk and you're reclining in a chair, but you'll be doing something else and you'll be doing the dishes or something and you'll have it on and and suddenly like something will happen inside
Yeah.
you. There'll be like a thing, and it'll just be
It
like,
like
what's
stops
happening?
you. It like stops you
Yeah.
in your dishwashing, and you're like, whoa. I mean, like, I don't know how you couch tour, but like, I like get my little microcosmic cocktail and like have the best time with myself. I've like had transcendent yogic experience. I like roll up the carpets to dance around my house. I like couch tour is awesome. But Brian, when Phish comes to Tokyo and I come to Tokyo, you are
We're going.
coming to
Well,
Phish.
we're absolutely
You'll
going.
be
Yeah.
I will
I
hold
mean,
you.
if I
I'll
had a
hold your hand the whole
benefactor,
time.
how's Kara Uchi doing? How's Jamie Janover doing? Those guys, are those guys? Are they?
Do we need a tour benefactor?
Yes, please.
Let's just call a shout out to my friend.
I want to go to Folsom Field. I'm putting out some intentions for the Folsom Field. I'd love to come to the Folsom Field.
Well,
That'd
you
be
have
amazing.
a place to stay. Kara Uchi can share the bed with you, or you'll have to sleep next to her because she sweats a lot. But
I'm married.
yeah,
with
we got
kids,
you,
but
Bri.
okay.
We got you.
Okay, cheers.
All right. I think you're
is
up.
it me?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay. Achieving this sort of dissociative bliss is not uncommon when listening to Hindu bhajans or Gregorian chants or other forms of religious music. I last felt it in the Pindus Mountains of northern Greece when a Roma clarinetist played Mirologi, or ancient epirotic lament directly into my ear at 2 a.m. in a dark forest. I bring this up simply to say that it's extraordinary that this is the sort of thing, a fleeting doorway to nirvana, is regularly occurring for Phish fans in minor league hockey arenas.
I love that. I think it
too.
goes back to that like wonderful tension of opposites in like why and how we love Phish. It's like it's so right on. Oh, when that portal opens, I don't remember a single thing Fishman said. I know which gigs are really good by how little I can remember. I do things on the drums that I never practiced and had no idea I was capable of. I have to go back and learn shit that happened in jams that I don't actually know how to do.
That's so cool.
It's
That's
so
so cool.
amazing. Yeah.
Anyway, we could just keep going off. One night I asked Anastasio to walk me through what it felt like on stage when the band passes through the portal. I'll pick a jam and try to describe what's going on, he said. Camden, New Jersey, 1999, Chalk Dust Torture. The song is what it is. It's fast, it's ridiculous, and still, in some weird way, it's my fucking all-time favorite Phish song. Insightful. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I would have thought it was Tube. I would have thought.
Oh.
I would have thought Tube would have been trade. Okay, about 5 minutes in, after a spontaneous keychain, the band starts communicating musically, changing keys and rhythms. I throw out a melodic phrase. You forget English words, like a melodic. I haven't said the word melodic in like 15
Wait till
years.
you get to parapraxis. It's coming.
Okay, I throw out a melodic phrase, something we can all jump on. That leads to another spontaneous key change, which can only happen if we're all fully listening. And then the universe opens up and I feel like I don't exist, he continued. I'm not locked in my mind anymore. I feel entirely connected to the people way back on the lawn. I can sense the scale, how insignificant the venue looks from above, how minuscule we are in the grand scheme. I don't understand any of it. It feels like being pulled by the music like a water skier. It's a miracle, this moment. But it's ephemeral. It can't last. And slowly, around 12 or 13 minutes, it goes back down to earth. But I've gotten to peek behind the curtain just for a moment. The set continues when I step off. I can't, it's just overwhelming. The set continues when I step off the stage. Someone walks up to me and says something like, "The bus is leaving," or "What time do you want to eat?" And fuck, I'm back in this shit.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's like
the Phish portal is everything. I mean, come on.
It's true. I mean, you get it in the CD. You just get it like walking down the road. You just throw it on a Billy Breeze, and you just like it's a constant catharsis. This music, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, here comes the part about the barn. This is where I'm like, she's weaving this great history that, like, if you're a Phish fan, you know a lot of this, but like the touch points of the like Phish mythology and like kind of like generative creation story thing, it never gets old. So here we go to the barn. Phish invited me to visit Anastasio's recording studio in a barn in the Green Mountains just outside Burlington. When I arrived in February, the city was buried in more than a foot of snow, and I white knuckled my rental car up a long switchback driveway. Anastasio and McConnell were sitting at a wooden table eating sandwiches. Come on, that's like the best dig of the
I didn't even think about it until you just read it. I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, that's charming, but now I'm
that's
sure
like,
Paige made
how
the
is
sandwiches.
she not ahead? Like, everyone will just be like, yeah, it's a sandwich.
Maybe she is.
Of course, Phish fans are like, oh, McConnell and his sandwiches. You're like, I love that. It's like so backhanded and epic. Okay, sorry, where'd I go? Sandwiches.
Should we just clarify that for anybody who's curious? Paige McConnell is the master of this, is the master sandwich maker. He's the chairman of the board, and he's also the master sub sandwich maker. And when he's back there playing all his pianos, you know, you could just imagine like a Subway station, you know, where he's got the ham on this side and the cheese and the tuna, and he's making sandwiches back there. Paige is our sandwich maker, so it's appropriate.
And he loves a sandwich. I think he did something in the pandemic where he like did a tour of his favorite sandwiches, maybe before like a dinner in the movie or something.
Who doesn't love a good sandwich, right?
I mean, listen, if you don't like a sandwich, I don't think we can be friends. Like, so. And it's fine. I've learned to like somewhat respect like gluten-free bread. I know like gluten-free people need sandwiches too. So yay. But like, who doesn't like a sandwich, Bri?
Yeah, you gotta like sandwiches. It's mandatory.
Is it like popular in Japan, like a nice Japanese Sammy?
Don't worry, sandwiches are here. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta if you want to if you want a Paige McConnell Sammy, you gotta go do it yourself. Although no, I take that back. There's sandwiches. There's great sandwiches here. Why are we talking about sandwiches?
Okay,
sorry, it was
my fault. Talking about Paige.
I know.
A wooden table eating sandwiches. My favorite part of the article. Anastasio jumped up and offered to show me around. I love giving the tour, he said. I get very excited. We walked onto a deck overlooking the mountains. In the mid-90s, after acquiring the land, 70 acres, Anastasio bought the 200-year-old barn for $1,000. That's Mount Mansfield, Anastasio said, pointing. See that white patch? The barn was down there. A team of woodworkers eventually transferred the building, beam by beam, to its current spot. Once the barn was reassembled, a second structure was built around it, mostly for insulation. Anastasio got out a photo album and showed me some grainy snapshots from its construction. That's me working the saw, he said proudly. They let me help out. There's me hammering while they drink beer. So I don't know about you, but in this part, all I could think of was like, thank God he didn't like cut off a finger with a saw or like, did you think that? I was like,
no.
White
I pictured like little skinny arms, skinny finger tray with like a tool belt, like them laughing in the laughing stock of the carpenters. But maybe he's a hardworking carpenter. I have no idea.
Like his little skinny legs and like those like 89 Amy Farm videos or whatever. Trey with the hammer.
Yeah, there was Fat Trey. There's a little short period.
Yes, there was Fat Trey post Europe. But I mean, listen, if the only thing you have is a hammer.
The only thing you have is everything looks like a nail. There's the lyric. The interior is warm. The interior is warm, rustic, and inviting. There isn't a single chain or screw that was bought new at a hardware store. Anything that got worse when it got old, we didn't use, Anastasio said as he led me around. The light fixtures were salvaged from an old school, from a local school. A blackboard had been used to make tiles for the shower. That's interesting. There are several large stained glass windows. Everything there is meaningful to Anastasio. From his grandmother's Davenport, I used to eat nuts on that, he said, laughing, to a mosaic tabletop his mother had made, and 2 seats from the Spectrum Arena in Philadelphia. When my dad took me to see the Flyers that the year they won the Stanley Cup, we sat in those 2 seats, he said. The floorboards were culled from trees cut down to make the driveway. This is one of my favorite details, Anastasio said, pointing at them. We've done at least 15 albums here, long projects where everybody's staying up until 2:00 in the morning, running around, skateboarding, whatever. These are random sizes, rough planed on one side. We wanted people to be able to spill beer and feel good. I didn't want anything fancy.
Love that. There's no control room or isolation booth at the barn. The recording console is out in the open. It was purchased in Miami from the people who did the Cops soundtrack, Anastasio said. I asked him if he worked differently here. Yes, he said. I really believe that without the barn, there wouldn't be a Phish. You go into a recording studio, it's business hours. Most of our time here is spent laughing. It's been a tether to remembering who we actually are.
Phish maintains a sizable archive situated in a Burlington warehouse. The rooms are kept at 64.7 degrees, and their contents are managed by Kevin Shapiro, the band's full-time archivist. One morning, Shapiro and Beth Montori-Rolls, the general manager of Phish, Inc., and the executive director of the Waterwheel Foundation, showed me around. There were old stage props, a plywood time machine, miniature trampolines, copper balls from the Clifford Ball, oil paintings, gig posters, costumes, ticket stubs, t-shirts, books, photographs, newsletters, and a seemingly endless shelf of media from eroding almost 120 pounds of hard drives held in a phone line.
You skipped a line.
Okay, hold on.
From eroding 4 tracks and VHS tapes.
Okay, wait, hold on. Where did it go? There were old stage props. Let's see. Newsletters, seemingly endless shelves of media from eroding 4 tracks. Okay, sorry. From eroding 4 tracks and VHS tapes with titles such as Random Party UVM 1987 to almost 120 pounds of hard drives held in foam-lined waterproof cases, which contain the visuals that the band used at its sold-out 4-night run at Sphere in Las Vegas 2024. When I started in 1996, my dad was like, "Are they a rock band? Is this what you're going to do?" Shapiro said, standing next to a humming stack of computer servers. I was like, "Well, maybe." And he said, "What's the longevity of that? It's just going to burn alive. That's what rock and roll does," which is a true statement. But I thought, if ever a group might endure, this could be the one.
Yeah, you know.
From the beginning, Phish both taped its shows and allowed others to tape them, which means that there is now an overwhelming amount of recorded music to manage. Shapiro and Montori-Rolls referred to the magnitude of material as the archival conundrum. We paused in front of a series of cobalt blue boxes. You asked about a Holy Grail, Shapiro said. For the fans, the Holy Grail is the release of Big Cypress. Ooh, is this like a teaser? We've done a fair amount of the... Yeah, I didn't know that either. We've done a fair amount of the background work. These tapes are already transferred. Ooh. At one point, Shapiro handed me the original copy of Anastasio's senior thesis, the music for a concept album titled The Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday, which is set in a mythical land called Gamehenge. It is the basis for several of Phish's most beloved early tunes. I feel like I'm looking at the Gutenberg Bible, I joked. You are, Montori-Rolls replied.
I love that.
Hence
the original?
Handed
me the original copy. It is.
It's probably like in that old school typewriter type, you know, like where like if you made a typo, you had to put like the little chalk paper and like retype the thing. That's amazing.
The next day I met McConnell for breakfast. After touring the archive, I felt overwhelmed. What did it all mean? I don't know what it means either, McConnell said, chuckling. He was wearing blue jeans and a Mets hat. I don't try to. Later that morning, McConnell drove me around Burlington, pointing out where the members of Phish had lived, practiced or hung out, and gigged during the band's formative years. A lot of the clubs from the time were gone. Finn Bars, Hunt's, Memorial Auditorium, where the band once opened for Allen Ginsberg, but the scrappy apartments mostly remained. McConnell guessed that he'd rented something like 17 different spots in total around town. He and Gordon still live nearby. In 2006, Fishman bought a blueberry farm in Lincolnville, Maine, a down east town. What does that mean, a down east town? A down east town where he served as the town select man. So he's in the local government of Lincolnville, Lincolnville, Maine,
Lincolnville.
but I don't know what a down east town is. It's just
Maybe that's like a Maine specific term where you're like maybe close to like the border or something like that. You know, I think he lives really close to where Trav lives in Maine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
From
Michael
Travis.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All right. Down east. We'll find out about that. Show notes later. I believe the internet expects. Okay. McConnell joined Phish in 1985 when the band still had a second guitarist named Jeff Holdsworth. Anastasio, Fishman, Gordon, and Holdsworth had all been undergraduates at the University of Vermont. McConnell was studying at Goddard, an experimental college in nearby Plainfield. McConnell was doing the booking for Goddard Springfest, which featured a dozen acts. There was a band called The Cuts, which played 80s music, McConnell recalled. They wore black suits. They had a thing going, but they had to cancel. Mike found out they canceled, got my number, and called me in my dorm at 7:30 in the morning. The phone was just ringing and ringing and ringing. I ended up picking up, like, stop calling me. Still, Phish got the gig. I just knew kind of immediately that I was supposed to be in this band, McConnell said, even before I heard them, just seeing them driving up. In 1986, Anastasio and Fishman both enrolled at Goddard, and McConnell received a $100 finder's fee from the school. At the time, the college had just 33 undergraduates. Side note, did you know that Goddard is closing?
Oh, that's too bad.
I know. I guess people, whatever. We'll get into that later, but
I want to stop here for a little Paige McConnell appreciation. I think Paige, like every not every rock and roll band has a grand piano player as part of the lineup.
Not every band has the infrastructure to tour with a fucking grand piano.
I mean, Paige's first instrument before organs and synthesizers is the piano, and the piano at the end of a coil or sprinkled in whatever song you want to give us is a signature of the sound that sort of almost supersedes everything else. I mean, everything is critical to the sound of the band, but the piano is the thing for me that, it just makes it distinct from other sounds out there. And that's one of the things I really, really love. And I know that Trey had said somewhere that he didn't really want to have a piano player. He envisioned like a two guitar band. And the piano just brings so much sophistication to the band. It brings it softens the band in ways, even though he's a monster at the keys. I've heard people sort of slag off on his piano playing, much more accomplished piano players, but I love the way he plays. I freaking love the way McConnell plays. And I just think like he tempers everything. He tempers all of the energy of everything. And if they didn't have him, I don't know if I would love this band as much as I do. I love the Sold My Soul for rock and roll guitar. I love Mike's craziness. I love Fish's I love the Zappa-ish of Fishman, but McConnell is the special sauce that like glues it all together. And I just have so much appreciation for not just him as a character in the band, but for the soundscape that he brings to the band.
Yeah. So you play the piano, and when you lived in Boulder, you had the Rhodes, and we would sit around, and there's that photo you showed of us on the piano. Piano is just a really magical instrument. It is tonally so rich, especially the grand, and especially how Phish production tunes it, and just like the way it's mic'd. I mean, it sounds so good. It's so rich and very tonally, but then of course it's rhythmic. And so there's that part of his playing too. And I think you're right. It lends this kind of like organic quality when like, especially with the like modern day bleepy bloopy, which I love so much. But like that, again, it's like this wonderful tension in the fabric of the music the piano is often that defining element for me. For
For you too,
Me
probably.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it gives the band like a space, I think, almost like in time, or transcends kind of time. It's like out of time, it's like it's
Yeah.
100-year-old instrument, the same way that like or I don't know how old the piano is, 500-year-old
It's older
instrument.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piano 4 comes before. Yeah, but
But
you.
yeah, the bleepy bloopy that you're talking about, we can have that in the last 50 years or whatever, but it ties it back to Chopin, it ties it back to Beethoven, it ties it back to Bach. I love the sound of the piano. It makes me appreciate Ravel and Debussy, and it makes all of those it makes me appreciate classical music. And I know Trey's composition obviously is peppered all throughout every song of every Phish song, but it's the piano that like somehow contextualizes it. I don't know if I would be able to hear the music on the guitar. I mean, some of those records that came, the Trey solo records, what's the red one? What's that one called?
Lonely Trip, maybe?
No. The one before that, the big one.
Oh, I don't know.
No, but it's the red. Well, the one that he did with Don Hart. No. But
Time Turns Elastic. All
Time Turns Elastic. Yeah, Time Turns Elastic is awesome, but it's guitar driven. It's got it's an orchestra, but the guitar sits out in front of it, and I just love the piano coming out in front on top of the guitar. It's just a prettier, in my opinion, instrument. So anyway, I'm just going off there in a second.
Well,
but thank
hold
God.
on. I wanna just say one thing I'm curious about, because Trey's been doing the solo tour and he's been playing with this wonderful pianist, Jeff Tansky. Have you heard any of these
yeah, he's amazing too. Yeah, they're great.
Honestly, I think it comes down to the sort of interplay in the composition. So much is written around that conversation between piano and guitar, and that, like you mentioned, the atonal fugues, and we'll get to that part of the article, but the simplicity of that and complexity at the same time of just these two instruments in conversation. I'm really
nobody
into
else is doing that. Nobody else does that. And the way that they it's like the rhythm section sets up so that can be done, and that you constantly see them, they're so communicative. And actually right here, I even have like sitting right behind me, here's the McConnell Anastasio January record.
Oh, nice.
Up the other day.
Yeah,
so
Tokyo record style. Shout out.
Cheers. All right, Page appreciation sidetrack. Let's keep going. Yeah, thank you, Paige. Thank you for joining the band. In 1985, he came 2 years later than everybody else. He's the youngest member of the band, essentially. Started in 83, Page didn't come in 85, and eventually their other guitar player, Jeff Holdsworth, left the band, and now they became the four-piece that they've maintained all of these 40 years.
Wait, are you reading? Did I miss something?
No. I'm just putting a bow on this thing. Yeah.
And you're gonna start with.
Okay. So we wound through the UMV campus. The very first time I played with the band,
bro, you gotta
what
get
did I say?
right.
What did I say? UMV? Did I say UMV?
Yeah, get it right. It gets like all this slack.
Let me start over. Okay, please keep calling me out when I do it right. Please,
Miss Rossin will call you out.
Miss Rossin. Okay.
Tonight we wound through the reading comprehension and fluency. Yes.
Okay, thank you. We wound through. I could maybe get a C here.
You're doing so great, Brad. A for effort. Okay. Let's do this.
Thank you. We wound through the UVM campus. The very first time I played with the band was right up there, McConnell said, slowing down and pointing toward the courtyard between the two buildings. For about 6 months, Phish was a quintet. Then Holdsworth quit. I was bringing in massively composed music, and he didn't want to learn it, Anastasio said, but Page was all in.
When I first joined, Trey asked me, how much will you commit to this? Are you going to be gone in a year? I was 20 years old at the time, McConnell told me. And I said, no, I'll be here for 10 or 15 years. I will really, really commit to this. I remember thinking, this music is unconventional, but it's good enough that there's going to be a niche for this.
At Goddard, Anastasio started studying with composer Ernie Stiers, who he described as a kind of second dad. With Stiers' guidance, Anastasio began writing atonal fugues. I got it. In
Yes.
Phish's earliest songs, he said, all 4 parts were composed and fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. He later showed me pictures of some of those early handwritten compositions, including The Squirming Coil from the band's second album, Lawn Boy, fully annotated with marginalia, like weird time stuff. I have hundreds of pages of this, he said.
For Anastasio, composition and improvisation are not quite antipodes, though they do function differently. Rhythmic variation is a huge part of the way that I improvise. That's something a little bit unique about my guitar playing. When I'm composing, I tend to lean into harmony, he said. Improvisation arises from a gut level reaction rather than from rational thought. Composition, arranging sounds to create a musical narrative, is slower. Both, he offered, are a very direct path to the heart and emotion.
Yeah, you need them both. That's why we're all here. We're not here for the gratuitous jam. That's why it's such a misnomer. We're not here for the jam. We're here for the juxtaposition of the jam on top of the composition, of the improvisation. Those two things in marriage is what we're all here for.
You know,
Right?
it's funny. Like when I go to Phish, like I love everything. I'm here for it all. I'm here for love and light. I'm really here for like the portal and the evil shit. But honestly, when it's a show that doesn't have compositional tunes, me and Nafi always like talk about this afterwards, it feels like no, we didn't, like there's something like really essential missing. Like you want, I mean, we all want like the epic David Bowie that's waiting to come out, but like, I mean, just oh god, dinner and a movie, way, even like there's just some
Divided
really
sky.
cool, yeah, divided sky. I mean, you want, I think we crave that safety of the composition, especially because I think we all desire to hear it sort of like, oh, so beautifully. And when you don't get that sometimes at the Phish show, it can be like, I mean, like jam, yay, groove, yay, tube, yay, but also like, man, we wanted something that we could like follow, like you follow along. It's in your body as a fan. I think that compositional element. You read for a sec. I just got to open my little door here and turn down my
Okay.
heat. I'm schwitzing, honey.
I want to break too, so you read a couple after. I'm going to go get another tea. The band began booking regular shows at Nectar's, a bar and restaurant in downtown Burlington. Nectar's was Nectar's was 3 nights a month, 3 sets a night, Gordon said. That's one way to be relaxed, to have all that time and nothing to prove. We knew everybody's name in the audience, Anastasio said. Burlington was particularly cool right then. Bernie was our mayor. Ben and Jerry were handing out ice cream. We would play a show until 2 a.m, then would all go to Howard Johnson's and eat French fries. It was a really deep social scene during that incredible age when you're figuring out who you are.
We
Keep
were
going?
rebelling. Oh, I'll go.
You go.
We were rebelling, but no one cared, McConnell said. We weren't rebelling against anyone in particular, he added, laughing. We just weren't gonna do, we just weren't gonna not do what we did. Slowly, Phish's audience got bigger. It used to be easy to track because we would go to a town, Northampton, Massachusetts, and play to 5 people in a club in the basement, McConnell said. He's talking about Pearl Street. I've been there. And the next time there would be 25 people. And then they're like, okay, we can move you to the club upstairs. And then there were 50 people. And then it was the next club and the next club. And then it's the arena at UMass.
Phish has long been likened to the Grateful Dead, a comparison that feels easy but also apt. Both bands are known for improvising and for self-actualizing on stage rather than in a studio, and have been trailed around the country by packs of sandal-wearing devotees. After Jerry Garcia's death in 1995, some followers of the Grateful Dead saw Phish as a viable alternative, a new anchor for their lifestyle. There was a real change sometime in '96, Anastasia said. We got famous. The pace of the growth was so astonishing. We were all just hanging on for dear life.
On my last day in Burlington, Anastasia and I met for coffee. The night before dinner, I'd been asking him about Phish as a disobedient force that refuses to acquiesce to the whims of the culture. I was thinking specifically about the band's screwball humor, what it meant to play an Electrolux vacuum cleaner, as Fishman occasionally did, or to sing very long songs about lizards in the early and mid 90s when rock music was perhaps at its most righteous and angsty. I recalled as a teenager watching Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, scrawl the phrase pro choice on his forearm on MTV and thinking it was easily the most intense thing I'd ever seen.
I remember that.
I remember that too.
Anastasia said that some degree of exuberance and absurdity were simply ingrained in the process for him, that he had always thought of songwriting as collaborative and fun. Anastasia was brought up in Princeton, New Jersey, where his father worked for the Educational Testing Service. His mother was a children's book author and an editor at Sesame Street magazine. He started singing and playing guitar as a teenager, hanging around the Princeton campus with friends. Anastasia was one of the first employees of the Princeton Record Exchange. Shout out Princeton Record Exchange, great record shop in Princeton. For a while, and he was paid partly in vinyl Led Zeppelin. He was paid partly in vinyl Led Zeppelin bootlegs. There's a rhombus sculpture at the Institute for Advanced Study, and we would climb up this thing with a 4-track machine. It was hard to climb up. It was a big success story if you could get on it. We'd bring acoustic guitars and a 6-pack of beer, a couple of joints, and laugh and make up these songs, he said. Some of those early tunes eventually made their way to the Phish repertoire, such as Guy Forget, which was named after the French tennis player and contains one lyric, I've never met a man that I could not forget except for Guy Forget.
Guy Forget!
Everyone was laughing and falling over, and I'm just playing the guitar and making up this ridiculous non-song, but it's catchy and it's funny. Years later, I spontaneously started to sing that thing at a Phish concert at Nectar's, and suddenly it's in the lexicon. It's nothing, and yet people have signs and they scream for it. So you do it, but it's fun. But half of my brain is thinking, "Oh my God, shoot me now."
I love that. That's like goes back to that juxtaposition again. We're on page 34. This is great. Still, Anastasio said, he didn't really see silliness as the nucleus of Phish's countercultural ethos. He took his phone out and started playing Fluffhead, a song he wrote when he was 19 or 20. Fluffhead. This was always the point of rebellion, he told me. This is all written out. It's tongue and groove, piano and guitar. He played a bit more of the song. Right now, the counter theme is the bass. Then it's the piano. Now it's the guitar. Now we're playing it in a different key. There it is again. Then we do it without any rhythm, same theme. Now I'm playing the upbeat and Paige is playing the downbeat, same theme. Now Paige is on the upbeat, I'm on the downbeat, that's backward. Now I'm going up keys and he's answering me. There it is again. Okay, practice that for 15 hours, Anastasio laughed. That's one theme developed. We do a 12-minute long song and then we start improvising.
Yes.
Yes. We love that. That's the composition thing. It's like you get through all of that hanging on as a fan, like, you know, it's so intricately. You don't need to understand it. It's kind of like Paige saying, like, I don't understand it, or like 4 pages earlier, right? And then there's the jam, and it's like, it's so gorge because you got through that, like, kind of gamut or whatever. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's the reward for the composition. Anastasia pointed out, is that where we are? Where are we?
No. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, Anastasia pointed out a window toward a church where he used to watch Stiers, his mentor, play organ. He said, I love this so much. One of the first things that he taught, is this the one?
Yeah.
No, this is not the one. It's the next one. Anastasio pointed out the window toward a church where he used to watch Stiers, his mentor, play organ. He said, one of the first things that he taught me was the concept of emancipation of dissonance.
Pause. It's such a good phrase. I've been teaching sentence word phrase. I love that. Emancipation of dissonance. So Sorry.
Yeah, I think this is I want to talk about this here in a little bit, but the fact that she got this out of him,
I know.
I never read that. It's great.
Yeah, me neither.
Which was the idea put forth by Schoenberg. Conceptually, what it means is that music progresses through time. As music progresses through time, it ought to become more dissonant. Interesting. He paused. I was writing atonal fugues as an exercise to figure out those outer realms of harmony. If you listen closely, you can hear nods to that in the middle of Fluffhead. For Anastasio, this was the truest point of insubordination. That's Phish, he said. And that's the defiance.
Hell yeah. Ooh, I get to read the Bernstein paragraph. This is exciting. During my time with Anastasio, the musician he spoke about with perhaps the most passion was Leonard Bernstein. Anastasio's enthusiasm for Bernstein is based in part on the composer's ability to effectively wed classical theory with popular song. West Side Story was the first album I ever got. I'm talking about 5th grade, Anastasio said. Even then, I was thinking, how the fuck does he do this? He went on, I don't think Bernstein wanted to do a Broadway play. He felt like it was a waste of his talents, but it wasn't. Oh my God, I love this part. The best part is when Tony gets shot and dies at the end. I've got to play it for you. I'm sorry. He pulled out his phone again. You've heard this melody before, and it was hopeful. And then when he dies and she's over him, they play it again and he reharmonizes it and it's heart-wrenchingly horrible. Anastasio's eyes filled with tears. This is the moment I fell in love with music. It's like a funeral dirge. That's all liberated dissonance, everything you're hearing. This is a very simple phrase, a simple melody. And then he modulates and he is consonant now, the last shred of hope. The song kept playing. That's in key. Finally, he gets it there. He goes, there's a place for us. There's a place for us. There's a place for us somewhere. Actually, it goes, there's a place for us. Ba-da-da. It's kind of like the hook of that song. Oh my God, it's so good. Somewhere. And then it never modulates. It ends on the most dissonant interval. Anastasio looked stricken. He wiped his eyes. Ernie and I would talk about this stuff when I was 18. Don't give it to him. Don't resolve, he said. Instead, I would just keep going and going and going. Oh,
That's
come
so
the
powerful.
fuck on.
That's
it really
so
is.
powerful. I think this is like what George Harrison was tapping into. I think, Mike Gordon mentions it in one of his, he talks about playing, I just heard Mike Gordon talks about playing it, playing the same thing over and 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 over on the bass.
Oh,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
How, like, once you get that deep into it, there's no getting out of it, right? There's no resolution.
You gotta get into it, we gotta get out of it, and I gotta get out of it. You wanna get into it? Yeah, no, I'm just to quote a little
There's
Zappa
another
who
one,
said the same thing. Sorry,
yeah, no.
That's our cosmic dance.
No,
Hey,
I lost my train of thought.
I do want to just say I'm under 10% on my phone, and I could get the cable to plug it in, but then I won't have my headphones on any. Oh no, yeah.
That's okay. You don't need your headphones.
Do I not? I thought that's what people do on the internet.
You're fine. Right. You don't need the headphones. You just need to be here.
Why don't you keep reading? I'll get my cable.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. There was one more thing I wanted to. Yeah, the not giving, the settling into the thing, and never. I think the writer. I think where this article goes at the end here is the same thing that he's talking about right here. When it gets to the end, I was like, that's it. She doesn't give it to you. Jim Jarmusch doesn't give it to you. I love the thing where it's like you're left to do with it as you please.
Yes. Yes.
Happy birthday to you and many more. What the fuck does that mean?
It's a minor sus chord. It's the sus. Honestly, it's the sus. It's like that epic question mark of chords.
Or the Beatles.
Yes, yeah. What's that? That's like the end of Abbey Road or something like that. Never go see any other one. Never go see any other one.
Okay.
All
Here we
right,
go.
you
Let's keep
read.
going.
I'll be right back then.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank
On
you.
September, okay, no, you're fine. On September 14th, 2000, Phish performed an aching cover of Neil Young's Albuquerque, a song about the isolation and stress of life on the road at Darien Lake Performing Arts Center in New York. Anastasio's voice was uncharacteristically melancholic. By then, Phish had been pushing the limits of most everything for nearly 20 years. Soon afterward, the band took a 2-year break, but it wasn't enough. In April 2004, Phish played a series of exceptionally grim shows in Las Vegas. I was there. Anastasia was addicted to opiates. I remember coming off stage to anybody who was standing around, I'd say, "Did people like that shit?" Anastasia told me. I knew it wasn't good. The financial pressures of the operation at that time, Phish employed around 50 people, were overwhelming. The scene backstage was decadent and depraved. There were marriages and children at home. The drugs had caused problems. The drugs obscured problems. I don't know what came first, Anastasia said. When you feel bad about letting people down, a great solution is to take an Oxycontin. If you weren't working as hard as you used to, you'd think, I'll just do a line of cocaine and then I'll be able to work harder. We had doctors who were writing prescriptions in order to get backstage.
Dude, that's crazy. I know.
You must be tired of all this touring. Here are 500 Oxycontins. That's just so wrong.
Go to sleep for forever. Yeah, it's crazy. Anastasia was locked in a cycle of indulgence and repentance. What would happen is we'd go home and I would do yoga and go to the gym, run on the treadmill, get my shit together, he said. Then we go out, play one set, and bam, it was back because it was fun. Everyone was having so much fun. There goes the people pleasing. You don't want to be the one to say the party's over. On May 25th, Anastasio posted a note to Phish.com announcing that Coventry, the band's 7th festival, held at a small airfield in Vermont, would be their last show. We all love and respect Phish and the Phish audience far too much to stand by and allow it to drag on beyond the point of vibrancy and health, he wrote. His language was defensive. For the sake of clarity, I should say that this is not like the hiatus, which was our last attempt to revitalize ourselves. We're done.
Do you remember that? Do you remember where you were? Do you remember? She hit something on the nail here.
No, you were living next door to Joe, and I was probably up in Jamestown at that point. We were both still at the diner. Everyone was like blown away. And it was like at the beginning of the internet, I mean, like the sort of generative days of the internet. So like you had like that one friend who knew about the internet or like was on it, like knowing all the Phish things, and it like got out. Yeah, I do. It's probably before texting even. Where were you?
Do you remember how you felt? I was in my house. I think I read it on an email.
I feel like I had stopped caring as much. So remember, Phish played in Denver in 2003. You took Stacy, you went backstage, you met John Fishman. I had this weird show. The show was so weird. They played Lion Sleeps Tonight. I remember just feeling like, this is like not as fun as I remember. And I felt bummed. And then like that's the only 2.0 show I went to. I was listening to a lot of Motet and jazz, you know, like Dave was turning me on to a lot of music. I just was like, well, that's a bummer, but like, I think I'm like off the boat anyway. But I remember Joe drove like a maniac to get to Coventry. He was like the last car in, drove on the wrong side of the road as the story goes. And then I heard that Coventry was like such a disaster. I was just like, God, I feel like I dodged the bullet, but yeah, I don't know. How'd you
I remember
feel?
being happy. I was happy. I was happy it was done.
Yeah.
It was like done. I was
we had been through some crazy stuff. I mean, my life, your life. Not that we're gonna get into that, but yeah, it was like time to be okay with that. But boy, it was joyous when they came back, wasn't it?
It was very joyous.
Yeah.
Let's keep going here. Okay. If you want to talk about the
charging.
Is it my turn? Is okay. If you want to talk about the statement, you'd have to ask Trey because that was where his head was. Oh, I don't know if I can read this. McConnell told me, but not. You read this one.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. You tell me if you want me to read through the next one too.
You read the next two, please.
Okay. If you want to talk about the statement, you'd have to talk to Trey because that was where his head was, McConnell told me. But not, I ventured, where McConnell's head was. No, he said, I was sad. I wasn't like, this is the wrong decision. I just thought, this is the decision. It wasn't going well for any of us, really, but especially not for Trey. And Trey's the locomotive that drives this thing. Fishman recalled a distraught Anastasio telling the rest of the band that if he didn't get out of Phish, he was going to die. What I remember is Trey saying, I just can't keep doing this, Gordon said. And Paige and Phish saying, yeah, I think you're right. And me saying, I don't agree. I went through this grieving period, which was really hard. And I would have these dreams. We're still together and we're playing. Maybe it's Ohio or something. There's a hillside. It's grassy and there's a long dirt road and there's already a few thousand people there. I get into the building and I'm backstage and there's a river right out the back door. And I get in this little gondola. Gordon's eyes were wet. It felt like a river within my soul. That's what I was grieving. That's what was gone.
That's heavy.
I know.
Poor Mike.
Yeah.
Didn't want the band to end. And he's like, teary-eyed? I can't imagine Mike Gordon teary-eyed. It's the last thing I can imagine. You know, I know he's our resident weirdo, but to hear like a sentimental Mike is really touching. It's really, really touching.
Yeah, I feel that. I can see that.
You're disagreeing, but
I'm not disagreeing.
Okay,
I mean, Mike is a resident weirdo, and that's what we love him for. But also, like, I mean, honestly, I've been spending a lot of time on Mike's side this last, I don't know, 10 years. And I love watching Mike. The stuff that he plays is anything but weird. It is so tender and perfect and emotional and, you know, counterpoint to other stuff that like just is, how could he not be an emotional human? Like so I feel it in the music, all of that sort of depth and tension. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, how we all present is like trying to be upright in the world and like not be crying everywhere we go, maybe.
Well, he doesn't express it. You're right. It's a nice sentiment that you hear it in the music, but you don't really see it in the person, even though he's got this personality on stage where he's like, you know, is Mike happy? Is Mike having did Mike smile? I think Mike smiled, you know, and then he's a goofball on Twitter and Instagram or whatever, but he's, you know, I want Mike to be happy. I want to make Mike smile.
We want Mike to be happy. Yeah, hell yeah. I want Mike to like. I'm here for Mike fashion. I love when he's like sort of dissonant in his fashion choices. You know, he might like wear silver, or he might wear like a muted plaid short sleeve button up. I mean, that's like. So like, what? Those are such nondescript Jordans, Mike. Like. I don't know. Maybe that's the Mike that cries.
Coventry is still a sensitive topic among Phish fans. Torrential rains flooded the festival grounds in the days prior. 68,000 fans showed up anyway. Many of them left their cars on the side of Interstate 91 and hiked the rest of the way. The state of Vermont cleaned up the highway afterward and sent the band a bill for $35,000. Phish paid it.
Yes, they did.
The sets had their ups and downs. Some of the improvisations were gorgeous, but but the more composed elements felt messy. It was really obvious that the band was sick. Fishman said, there was rancor in the crowd. Fans blamed Anastasio for pulling the plug. There was this backlash of loathing online, directed at me, he said. It was so shocking, and it fucked me up so bad. Maybe I deserved it. But it was an experience that I was not prepared for. I was one of those people who was kind of hating him about it. It's a complex time, but I was like, I was happy that it was over, but it was also everything that I loved musically, and it was a strange feeling to just watch it burn down. Okay, keep going.
All right. Oh, this is a big one. In December 2006, when he was 42, the meaning of life, might I add, Anastasio was arrested in the early morning while driving through Whitehall, New York, a small town a few miles from the Vermont border. The officer who pulled him over found drugs, Vicodin, Percocet, Xanax, heroin, in his car. He failed a field sobriety test. He was in ghastly shape, both physically and emotionally. I'll talk to people in my life and say, I guess I could have died. And they're like, could have? You were fucking days from death, he said. I think I weighed like 97 pounds. It was horrible. You don't even know what's happening. You just think you're fixing the problem. You're not getting high. You're just trying to stave off horror.
The day after Anastasio's arrest, the Whitewall police sergeant William Humphreys told a reporter from the Rutland Herald, from talking to the police chief, he told me he was very cooperative, probably one of the most cooperative people they've ever arrested. Sweet and funny.
You can totally imagine that, right? Like Sweet Trey being
Whatever
so
you want.
cooperative. Yeah.
Okay. Even his mugshot is like, I hope you know.
Sheepish
Sorry.
Trey.
Right.
Oh, 97 pounds
Anastasia,
sheepish Trey.
Anastasio pleaded guilty to attempted criminal possession of a controlled substance and was ordered to serve 14 months in drug court, a voluntary program for nonviolent offenders that allows them to avoid jail time. Anastasio rented an apartment near the courthouse. His license was suspended, so he bought a bicycle. I was really immersed. For a year and a half, all I did was go to meetings. I took driver's ed. I did my community service. I had a curfew. I had to call every day at 7 a.m. It was house arrest. I was alone most of the time, he told me. My family would come up during the weekends. I had little kids at the time. Whenever I talk to them about it, they say it was one of the greatest memories because I wasn't running off on tour.
That is so interesting, isn't it? That part of this history really struck me. Imagining, because you know, you and I, like, we both have kids. I've had kids a long time, but just that, like, you might be going through this like total fucking crazy thing as the parent, but what your kids remember in your like most tumultuous times is like, we have dad back. Like, it doesn't register for them. There's like something, again, like back to the theme of tension. There's this like super interesting, like rich tension in this last line of the article or the paragraph. Okay. Anastasio spoke about the experience with an almost preternatural gratitude. I did 280 odd hours at the Washington County Fairgrounds. I cleaned the toilets by hand. I parked cars. People would recognize me, he said. It was great, though, he went on. It was a relief. It was humbling, healthy, beautiful thing. Later, Anastasio thanked Andrew Mija, the police officer who arrested him that night. Twice, he said. I sent him a letter, and then somebody said that he didn't get it, so I sent another one. In 2023, Anastasio and his drug court case manager, Melanie Gold, opened Divided Sky, a 46-bed residential drug recovery program in Ludlow, Vermont, named for an early Phish song, Divided Sky, The Wind Blows High. That got me emotional.
I think like this is the band talked about the water wheel wing of the band. They've got this charitable organization of the band that they basically support musical education projects, but they support all different kinds of things. And they just use this to like do any goodwill projects. And the Divided Sky like halfway house essentially is what it is, or recovery
Foundation,
center.
I think it is.
The recovery program is like one of the projects of this. And I think I think the band has like given away, could I be mistaken that they've given away almost $1 billion?
That sounds maybe
too
inflated.
much, right?
$1 billion versus millions is an enormous difference.
I think I heard hundreds of millions. Yeah, it can't be right. It's got to be. That's ridiculous. But
No, it
I
said
think
earlier in the article 9 million to 500 different nonprofits is Water Wheel.
okay, I'm off
But
by 0. Sorry, no, it's 100, whatever it was. It's
you and
I'm
Elon.
billion, a million. It's like infinitely more money than either of us have. But whatever it is, it's a staggering amount. And the fact that your like favorite rock and roll band who like have the fucking evil Phish that play Carini are also like supporting the local, buying instruments for the local public school or building a recovery center and doing food things, and at every turn of every turn of their operation they're doing something for goodwill. And that is like that. I'm deeply, deeply moved by that.
Yeah.
Like it's on par with the music. It's like there's an appreciation that I have for it that's like on par with the music. And the yellow, not the K, what's it called? The yellow balloon table. What's that called?
Oh,
You know what it's called?
Yeah, the sobriety table.
Fellowship. The fellowship.
Fellowship. I was like,
The
free?
fellowship is like
free?
this. If you're trying to get sober and you're at a show and you need some people to like go to shows with sober, they have a thing set up for people to get healthy. And I just like Trey tells this story in, what is it? He tells the story. He's gone to be a advocate for the drug court thing that he went through, and he talks about how like not only did it save his life, and not only did it like change his life, and that it made this. He talks about one of the tenets of sobriety is service, and about how he inspires his kids to do service. And there's this amazing equation that you put one guy, you help one guy get healthy rather than throw him in jail, and you get this multiplier effect. And like I just think it's fucking profound. I think it's so awesome. And I know that like it's people have been getting clean, but the fact that it's like this band, I don't know, I don't hear about Mattel. I'm sure that lots of other bands are doing these kinds of efforts, but I totally freaking love this about this band.
Well, I mean, listen,
and he said,
you can go to Phish and you can be high as a kite, or you can be sober. And at this
you
point
can do it.
in all of our journeys, honestly, it's really nice to be able to like come as you are, and there's a place for you in all worlds, and I
there's
think
no judgment, right?
Yeah, and as we all get older and like get healthier for whatever reasons, or like pull the chute and like go crazy for a weekend when we're not with our kids or we're not at our job, like everybody needs something different. And if you know what that is for you, then you're good to go in the scene, because there's a little pocket for everybody who's there at this point. It's not what it was in the 90s. And thank goodness we're not who we were in the 90s,
No, and Trey isn't either. And we would, and if he had not had this horrible mishap, we might have not had another. Where are we at now? We're at 15 more years. 2009
to 2025.
we're like getting close there to 20 more years after the 20 years that we already did. It's crazy.
20 years later. Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Anastasia is now sober, and he is an active sponsor in the recovery community. Late one night, asked him if he ever felt haunted by it all. The mug shot, the handcuffs, court. That's not what haunts me, he said. What haunts me is what I could have done to someone else. I met a guy in jail who got in a car and accidentally killed 2 people. He was smoking a joint and crashed his car, and that was it. He hit a tree, and his friends went through the windshield. That's what haunts me.
On October 1st, 2008, not long after Anastasio graduated from drug court, Phish announced its return, beginning with 3 shows at Hampton Coliseum the following March. It had been more than 4 years since Coventry. Now the leader of the band is sober, Fishman said. But it wasn't that big of a deal for the rest of us to not have that shit backstage. We just returned to how we were for the first 15 years. In a way, it was more familiar. It was formalized by trace sobriety. But in our youth, that was just our work ethic. Back then, anything that affected our ability to play well was edited out.
Read that one again. Back then, anything that affected our ability to play well was edited out. That's awesome. That's really something to look up to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can read this next one. Why don't you read this one?
Okay.
I won't be able to get through it.
In Hampton, the band opened its first set with Fluffhead, which begins with the line, Fluffhead was a man with a horrible disease. Even watching the footage years later on YouTube, when the band walks out, the depth and intensity of the crowd's roar is staggering. It goes on for more than a minute, and it doesn't stop when Anastasio plays the opening notes. I brought up the moment with McConnell. I know exactly what you're talking about, he said. It was beyond incredible. I've gone back and listened to what that sounded like. It was a lot. He paused, choked up. It's still a lot.
Have you seen that? You gotta go see it, Anne. Just go watch it once a year.
I saw it. No, but I've heard it a bunch of times. It was actually on Sirius Radio like earlier today when I hopped in the car. I was like, ooh, listen to that crowd roar. And then it was like the opening Fluffhead notes. I remember just being so excited that they were back. I was like, I think I could get back into Phish. I like this. This could be really cool. And then those 4 nights at Red Rocks, I was just like, I'm fucking in. I was so
when
in.
Fuego came out and Waiting All Night, I was like, okay, we're back. This band has got it back together. I'm fully on board again too. So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It took us a couple of years to get our mojo back, Anastasio said. There was a show we did in 2013 in Tahoe, Tweezer, where we played the long jam in Tweezer that opened up a new realm. From that point on, I think it's been improving every year.
Shout out to Tahoe Tweezer. Woo! That was just great. So many stories to tell about that. The idea of replacing a member of Phish has always seemed impossible, but it feels especially ludicrous now. Time is a liability for most rock bands, but it has enabled Phish to communicate through a private musical language, honed and expanded over decades. There's a Ruby Waves from 2019 in Alpine Valley that I'd put up against any jam from the 90s, Anastasio said. There's no question to me.
That's a hot take. Sorry, that's a hot take.
Honestly, that was a fucking hot ass jam. I listened to that on the... That's okay. I've interrupted you like 50 times. But yeah, hot takes. There's no question to me that we're playing better now. So much has happened. We grew up. Modern day Phish exists in a realm that none of those years can touch. And honestly, like since 2021, I mean, there's something in the music. It's a feeling, it's a sound, it's a maturity. It's a sort of like ease with the psychic baton passing. It's there's this real sort of, yeah, but then there's also this kind of like the whole crowd band game seems to have like dropped away some of its mystery, and it's just kind of this communion these days. It's not as like cagey, that fun communication from the 90s, which like you never knew. I think this will speak to you, but you never knew if it was like you who Trey was like egging on, or you felt egged on, that head trip or whatever. There's just that all still exists, but it's not as like aggressive. It's like just sort of like, yeah, you know, we're all here together and the weather's fine. That's like more, it's a more gentle feeling. I don't know. Modern Phish is
I think so too.
Awesome. I think it's great.
I'm into it as well. Okay, so this past New Year's Eve, Phish played its 87th show at Madison Square Garden. The venue, which has a concert capacity of around 20,000 people, has become an unlikely home base for the band. Anastasio describes his relationship to MSG as intimate, from the proclivities of the staff to the particular wobble and bounce of the floor, and the way that a note reverberates around the room. The New Year's show was the final gig in another sold-out 4-night run.
I arrived in the early afternoon to watch the band soundcheck. Each New Year's, Phish stages a gag or some sort of elaborate theatrical experience at midnight. Like many things in the Phish universe, the gags are kind of hard to explain. In 2011, I was there in the middle of a performance of Meat Stick, a boisterous song about sausage. I loved that as that like little aside. A boisterous song about sausage. The band began singing in Japanese. Oh, do you want to sing us the Japanese lyrics?
I forget how it goes.
Mita sika chikan.
Mika sika jikan, Mika sika jikan. I don't forget how it goes. Whoa! We have a atama gashak. That's atama is head, and gashak. My head's shocked. Atama shak. Atama gashak. That's it. We have actually. I should know that because we have a Facebook group of all the Phish heads in Japan, and it's called Atama Gashak.
Yeah.
We tried to rally. We tried to like recruit all the Phish heads in Japan together to try to see if we could like rally them to come back. And that thing that you sent me the other day was like, that's unfortunately that website's been there for a long time.
It's such a bummer. I mean, I am going to witch camp
There's
in
still
September.
hope.
It wasn't the best timing for me. Just FYI, Phish dot everybody. But yeah, you need to go up to Hokkaido and meet my friend Reiko and all her Phish heads.
Oh, dude, I know her. We got linked up.
You know her? Oh my god, her crew. Dude, she goes to everything. She's such a badass. Like partying with the Japanese Phish heads is like such a heart opening experience. Like bunch of kids came to Dick Slash. It's so much fun. Oh my god. All right.
She's cool.
Where were we? A boisterous song about sausage. That's right.
Okay.
The band began singing in Japanese. Moments later, costumed coalitions from around the world, Swedish ski bunnies, a Mexican mariachi band, Hasidic rabbis, sprinted on stage singing about the meat stick in their native tongues. Then the band climbed into the hot dog, briefly reclaimed from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and soared around the arena. Excuse me, you might be thinking? Yet I am here to tell you it happened. The band often loses money on these shows. Its management once suggested that it might as well stuff wads of cash into t-shirt cannons and fire them into the crowd. Honestly, I will just say with all the money that everyone has spent on their Phish obsession, that would be a really great gag. Just like $2 bills, a couple 50, you know, like wouldn't that be fun? Fuck yeah. Just like with like a little Phish stamp maybe on like George Washington's forehead or whatever. Jackson's forehead.
That's funny. They should do that.
That would be a hilarious gag. All right.
Anastasio starts plotting the gag almost a year in advance, working closely with the artist Abigail Rosen Holmes.
Fuck yeah, that lady.
Who often functions as a creative director for the big events. The rest of the band finds out about the gag only a few days in advance. That's remarkable.
That can't be true.
I know, no way. This year at midnight, Phish would perform Pillow Jets, a song from Evolve, and a kind of hyped up EDM version of What's Going Through Your Mind. We got to talk about this. I heard bits and pieces of the What's Going Through Your Mind remix in a recording studio in Manhattan earlier that month. Anastasio had spent the weeks leading up to the New Year's in the studio working on new material. Maybe a Phish record, maybe a solo record. He wasn't sure yet. Fishman had recently come through to add some drums.
Pillow Jets. Oh, you want to say something?
No, keep going because I thought this was like I didn't think that like Sci-Fi Soldier could have been topped. I don't want to get too far off into the weeds, but like you every time if something happens that they outdo themselves from the previous year, I'm like, there's no way they can outdo. It can't go any higher. It can't get any crazier. There's nothing more they can do. And in my opinion, yeah, you can hate on Pillow Jets if you want. Were you
No, I
there?
love. No, I wasn't there. I don't do New
Don't you talk
Year's
shit about Sci-Fi
consistently.
Soldier.
I was at
Is it-
Sci-Fi Soldier, and I was about to
eh,
say something. I think, like, honest and
Don't even.
complimentary.
Okay.
One, I was really close to the stage that night on the floor. Two, I wish you would have been there. It was amazing to see everybody in their spacesuits, like uh doing the Sci-Fi Soldier, and that, like, when you can tell that, like, Trey is self-conscious, kind of like you used to be able to tell when he was like smiling when he was singing, when it was just a bootleg world. And they were just so goofy. I love Sci-Fi Soldier. Fuck yeah, come on.
Okay. Okay. Good. I thought so.
He's a genuine asshole. Like,
Asshole,
come
bona fide asshole, or is it
on.
It's genuine? Yeah, genuine. But the Pillow Jets was I don't. Yeah, I don't want to go off that.
I am a
Let's keep going.
conjurer of thunder,
A
Brian.
Conjurer of Thunder. It was so good. It was so
Here
good. Yeah,
for Pillow Jets, and I'm here for what's going through your mind. I like a lot of the new music, like the Love and
I do
Light,
too.
love it. Some say, it's all, honestly, it's about context and timing. Anything is great and meaningful in the place where it makes sense, which for me is often like a weird, jarring, like left turn. But when you get all the Love and Light, all the new, none of the composition, it's really comes down to like composition of set list. But no, I'm here for everything. I just want it to be played well. That's my play. Anything you fucking want, just play it beautifully. That's all I want out of Phish. That's me.
Whose turn is it?
All right, me. Pillow Jets, which Anastasio wrote during the pandemic, was inspired by Wangechi Mutu's The Seated 1 and The Seated 3, two regal bronze sculptures of feminine figures installed outside the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 2019. Shout out to the Met. It's a buoyant song about praying for an otherworldly savior, described in the lyrics as a conjurer of thunder. The gag this year was that a thunder goddess would actually appear, an enormous golden mask with big blinking blue eyes descending from the ceiling. There would also be a live goddess played by the off-Broadway actress Jo Lampert, love her, and scrums of masked and robed dancers. From there, the band members, wearing flight suits, except Fishman in his dress, would play a few bars of Auld Lang Syne before launching into the What's Going Through Your Mind remix. Oh, this is funny. In the empty arena, this all looked and sounded particularly bonkers. A mostly blank page in my notebooks says only K-hole, Ibiza.
What's K-hole? I don't know what that is.
Oh, K-hole is when a person takes too much ketamine. And as it's been described to me, I don't know about the K-hole personally, but it's when you go from being like a dimensional person into like a 2D shape. Did you see that Disney Feelings movie when they're like in the 2D world and they're like, wah, wah, wah. I've only heard tale. The K-hole is, I don't need to go there, but yeah, K-hole.
It's like a black hole, but it's like the K-hole.
Yeah, but it's like ketamine sent you into this like really dissociated like thing. I can't describe it personally. Ibiza, that's where people go to like disco and do drugs, I guess. You want to go?
I think it confounded a lot of people because it was not really in Phish's songbook to do such a thing. They basically took one of their songs and they EDMified it, and they did it with like acoustic instrument, or not acoustic, but instruments. And it was, I thought honestly, they did it.
It's like a Bob Dylan song is what it always reminds me of. The lyrics, the cadence, the storytelling, all the characters. I'm always like, I want to hear somebody sing it like Bob Dylan and like the furniture got weird. Hey, and then the caddy disappeared or whatever the lyrics are. But yeah, to take a Bob Dylan-esque Phish song and make it like Cassidy worthy, like Red Rocks, rave worthy is pretty funny.
But I also thought that like the fact that they like I don't know if we found out that it was these the seated one and the seated two, these Wangechi Mutus. I don't think we learned about that until after the show or in the following weeks.
I think
And
you're
like
correct.
and the and you gave the shout out to the Met, and like the fact that the band has like become connected to New York City and to the MSG,
Yeah.
and that Trey is a resident there, and that they're kind of like almost, of course, rooted in Vermont, but they're like they've kind of clearly become like a New York thing. I think. I'm not sure if
I
that's
think
fair to say.
Trey is
Trey
a New
has,
York thing.
yeah, sure. But I think it adds another level of sophistication onto the band that I really appreciate. And this
Yeah.
is this is like Broadway, you know. This was like a Broadway meets, you know, Chicago house, you know, after party. It was fun. It was a good idea. I mean, whether you liked it or not, 10,000 A+ for effort. It was like the whole thing. Although I think they had a you know, unfortunate unfortunate landing, unfortunate platform. Something didn't fall down. Did you see that? I didn't hear anybody
Yeah,
talking about
so this is like the story of like Broadway-esque production loaded in one day in like 12 hours. I mean,
it. Okay,
like
they had no
goddamn the
time to
crew. No, I think one of the things didn't lift all the way, and then there was
all the way.
something about
One
like a
side had it right, but
drapery.
then
I mean, who the fuck cares? Like, if you were there, you were like on the right drugs to be like dance party. But you know what I thought was really interesting about the EDM, because the whole thing about EDM, and thank you, Jamie Janover, for like having an EDM festival for forever that I worked at, but it's like all about
Sonic
the drop.
Bloom.
Yeah, Sonic Bloom.
Right.
But it's all about the drop. And what's interesting, if you go back and listen to that like EDMified, what's going through your mind, is that every time like my sensibilities as a listener would be like, here comes the drop, it would be that like they were talking about earlier in classical music, it would be this extended dissonance that would be like, you know, the like whatever it was, they pull in those lyrics from other Phish songs, and it would morph instead of drop. And then when it would drop, it'd be like not when you would expect as a sort of like modern listener with your expectations where the drop would be. So it's still that, you know, like Drew Carey called it getting edged for 4 days. And that's kind of the same. That's what that dissonance is in like Drew Carey parlance, you know? So it was interesting. All right. You want to go?
Is it? I don't know who's it. Where are we? It was, where are we?
The backstage.
I think it's me. Yeah. Okay. It was a lot to sound check. Anastasio is exceptionally good natured. This was kind of telling. Okay.
Wait,
it was a lot.
Oh, yeah.
After Ibiza.
Yeah.
It was a lot to sound check. Anastasio is exceptionally good-natured, but like anyone who has wrangled a complex creative operation for several decades, he is also exacting. Ooh, that's omniscient. Okay. Whatever was just in my ears was not remotely in the mix. And that is sad, he announced on the stage.
Oh my God, imagining him announcing that, wouldn't you feel so sheepish? Like if you're on the crew, I'd be like, wow.
He must have been really upset. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Eek. That's like the
first
nicest way he gets mad.
That's really unfortunate.
Whatever is just in my ears was not remotely in the mix, and that is sad. That's like fucking bitch ass Trey. I like it.
Okay. The first night of the run hadn't quite coalesced. The portal didn't open, which happens at shows, and that's why we don't mind. We accept them. We accept that we don't always get them.
But we want
but we want the portal, right? Before the second show, the band attempted a new exercise proposed by Gordon. It was a variation of something Phish has done for years called including your own hey. The musicians began playing a theme, and then every minute or so, someone initiates a change, maybe a new key, and the rest react. When they've reconnected, they each say hey, And the new drill was called Never Vary, or We NV. And it demanded the opposite, not changing the pattern for as long as possible. Again, this is like hanging on to the thing.
Yeah.
It seemed to reset something. The second night, the band played a glorious 37-minute version of Ruby Waves. It led into an especially poignant Waste, one of my favorite Phish songs, mine too. In one verse, Anastasio sings about the hubris of wanting something big and unlikely, of understanding some latent desire as absurd, but still believing it entirely. A dream, it's true, but I'd see it through.
Pause for tear. Okay. The backstage, right?
Yeah.
I think that's one of your piano songs, Bri.
I love Waste. It's so
I
pretty.
know,
It's just so simple.
It's gorgeous.
That's a good one. It's off the best album. I'm a Billy Breeze. What's your? Do you have? Do we do this? What's your? My
no,
number
but
one.
I will
always
say
get to Billy
this
Breeze.
about. I'll tell confessions about Billy Breeze. I always started on track 2, and then I like the first track, Free.
What? Free is so good.
I know, but I always started when
And
I had
Piper's so good. My doorbell's ringing. Hold on, keep talking. I got my doorbell's ringing.
Anyway, I would always start it on the second track. I'm just going to read them. The backstage at MSG is a maze of overlit hallways and cinder block dressing rooms. Union guys with chewy New York accents slump on stools, eyeball credentials, and exude a kind of seen-it-all nonchalance. I watched McConnell get stopped while attempting to return to his dressing room. I play keyboards in this band, he said politely, gesturing back toward the stage. Anastasio had decided to wear a rhinestone-studded black polo sweater by the Lower East Side-based Bode, a cultish fashion brand. He showed me the top hanging in his dressing room. It glittered under the light. I think I'm going to wear this, he said, and laughed. Yet it made a kind of aesthetic sense. Bode is known for repurposing vintage patchwork textiles into boxy garments that look familiar to anyone who has ever roamed around a parking lot, eating a veggie burrito purchased from a cooler with no ice, waiting for an arena's door to open. That's funny because I would not characterize that sweater the way that she did, but that's fine. Yay, Bode. You remember the sweater with the sparkles? I was like, bold. But
yeah, he's taking
he's
some big
getting
swings.
older. Listen, we're all taking big swings as we get older. We all know that Mike is the ultimate like fashion
diva. He's the fashionista.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, bring back the blue lipstick and paint your nails, Mike.
Okay.
Like just for a night. Maybe just for a night. It's fun.
A few hours before showtime, the Garden allowed all general admission ticket holders to stream inside, single file, in timed groups. Security guards held up a yellow rope, establishing a sort of makeshift corral. People lucky enough to snag a spot on the front row started tarping or spreading blankets on the floor. Tarping is controversial, as a controversial practice. Too greedy. Already, you could feel a kind of frantic hunger in the air.
It's one of the best feelings. I watched the show from up in the stands where I could see everything. The thunder goddess descended, promising protection, rebirth. Pillow Jets is a song about a conquering yet compassionate creature, but it is also a song about music. Help arrives on pillow jets of sound. They will come through smoke rings in the glare with mace and discus, slicing through the air, restoring light as the lost become the found. High above the ground, high above the ground, on pillow jets of sound.
At midnight, there was confetti, balloons, light, a kind of ecstasy. Let me start this one over. At midnight.
This is good.
Yawp? Is that like a yawp? Is that a yawp? Is that a
yeah,
like a yawp? What? I've heard. Where have I heard yawp? A yawp.
Like,
you gotta give a yawp.
Yeah, yawp is like from
YAWP.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like what's the Martian character that Trey used to wear on his shirt? Like some kind of
Marvin
like Looney.
the Martian.
Yeah, it's like a yawp or a yawp. I don't know. More for the show notes.
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
Okay. Yop. Ecstatic yop. Here we go. At midnight, at midnight, there was confetti, balloons, light, a kind of ecstatic yop. It felt briefly as if the crowd were a single organism. I leaned in. Around 2 a.m., the show ended, and we stumbled outside into the new year, stupefied, warm, together.
Together. Dude, did we do it? Wow.
I think we did it.
An
Wow, that was
ecstatic
really
yawp. An ecstatic yawp.
fun. Amanda Petrusic. Amanda Petrusic. Thank you so much. This was so fun. Sorry we butchered, or for me, sorry I butchered your beautiful piece. It was really fun to read twice, and it was a little daunting to read it in front of others, but
I mean,
it was just a
at 2 hours and
appreciation.
40 minutes in, is there like even an audience anymore?
There's 11 people watching, but they're probably
that's
just,
good.
Yahoo.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I love a long read. Honestly, it's like a long format article about Phish is incredibly refreshing. It's like soundbite size writing is like, it never does what you want it to do emotionally. And like TikTok size for the modern world, it's just so nice to have the New Yorker and Amanda Petrusic writing about Phish so beautifully. I think she did such a great job.
I do too.
There's some like some of her phrases just like really capture just like feelings inside of me or moments that we've all experienced at Phish. And I don't know. And also like how wonderful the like kind of study as we read aloud together, what modern writers do on the page grammatically, if I may. Like the English teacher in me is like, ooh, all the commas, and look at all these parenthetical asides. I mean, like, I just got off a big feedback session with my students, and it's just really wonderful. Thank you for calling me this morning and asking me to do this.
Andrea.
This is really wonderful. Yeah.
It's fun to hang out. I think we got to maybe make we got to wait for the next piece to be written and try it again. I almost want revenge on this one. I want to but it was.
You want to practice first?
I wanted A for effort. What the Adirondacks? The Adirondacks.
Yes, like that wooden chair that you would have sat at in anybody's backyard in South Boulder in like 2001. An Adirondack.
That was called an Adirondack chair. Oh,
yeah, the Adirondacks. That's where you go when you send your kids to the Jew camp, and you gotta do a canoe. You learn about Phish. It's 1988 or whatever.
Okay. They're Jewish, Mom. They sing the song. You know. What's the song?
Avinu.
Come on.
Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, of course, but there's the other one. Da da da.
Jerusalem, da ba ba.
See?
Da 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 da. I'm the worst Jew. I love all the harmonies. Like my brain and my music sensibilities are tuned to these like minor Jewish harmonies, but you know,
Phish is like 3/5, or what is it? It's like 3/5.
Yeah, it's a half. It's a halfie. They're halfie, but
okay.
Yeah, the audience.
We love them.
Yeah, Jerusalem's. I don't know. Someone will tell us. And then there's a big car crash.
And then there's the Donyak Shivis, right? The Donyak.
Schweiss? I always said Schweiss.
Nobody knows how it's said.
Schweiss in a bunch.
Nobody knows.
Quick feedback on your fluency. For someone who has probably not read aloud in English for a very long time, you did a great job.
Oh, bravo. Come on. I read plenty, and I'm
no, but like, do you read out loud like that? I mean, this is heavy duty stuff.
No, but it was fun. It's fun. Yeah, I know. Like, I'd love to. I would like, it's fun. I would like to do more of it actually. It's a challenge. I've recorded like audio, I've done some audio production, and it's when you're in the studio and they okay, we're going to click you back in or whatever they do, it's hard. It's not easy. So, but no, thank you for that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you were the right person to be on this, so I appreciate it.
Well, it was really fun.
Tour starts in like 3 days, Ann. Tour starts in like you're going to be there. You got your
not
tickets
for
right
the
there
opener, but yeah, tour starts on Friday. Tour starts on Friday. I'll be on a plane. Yeah, it's Friday,
tomorrow?
Saturday. You're tomorrow. It's Wednesday.
Oh
in
my
the
God,
US.
it's here. Okay, so let's wish for a good little mini West Coast tour.
Yeah, so I'll be I'll be in Portland. I'm gonna be hanging out with Stacy Ludlow, my main bitch date for the night. Noff and Greg. Gonna see Deb Delman. That'll be fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
My friend
Tell Deb
Boom Boom is gonna be there. Choto's coming with us. We're gonna Greggles. It's Greg and the ladies. Greg's going on girl tour this year. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, who's on the tour? You're gonna go. It's you and Stacy only, but is Karuchi going? Who's going? I don't know who all
Uchi is gonna go probably to LA and San Fran because she lives
she's
in
in San Francisco. Okay.
Yeah, outside of yeah.
Okay, well let's
you
get what you get.
You get what you get.
Cara came by, Nick Pantazzi came by, Jamie was in the house. Dude, Jamie, that's incredible. Did you send a link to Jamie?
Cara sent him the link. Who else was there? Let's see. Let's do a little retrospective.
Oh, David. I don't know David.
Oh, Dave Ensign, Gay Fish Tour. Listen, you haven't lived until you've gone on Gay Fish Tour.
And I probably know who.
David Ensign is like, oh, he's my winter queen. That's our clubs. Our club is the Winter Queens. That's the Gay Fish Tour.
I'm so glad Fish has I see you guys out there on tour. Bikini Basin first show.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, and then Nick Fantasy, he's our guy friend. He's our music friend. 40 Man was super here in the house. You'll have to go reread a lot of the comments that he wrote.
Okay,
he's a bit of a literary head. He's a giant Vonnegut head, and you probably. Yeah, be careful. Don't get started with him. You guys are like two peas in a pod.
I don't pretend to do a Vonnegut thing. Like, I think that's Fish. I think that's John Fishman's like favorite author. And he said great stuff, but I'm not like super versed in him, honestly. 4D man. You can have Vonnegut. I'll take T.S. Eliot. We could rap about that.
Okay.
Who else do we have in the thread, Bri?
I don't know. Yvonne, my friend Yvonne from Norway, and that's about it. I think
Mr. Music Man.
Like a smattering of people. I don't really imagine like there's there's not a whole lot of Phish love out here in YouTube world. There's a bit, but there's not that much. There's just not that much.
Did you ever check out that guy Walter Ruski I told you about?
No, I know the Bacon Man. I know the Bacon guy, and
I don't know Bacon guy. Check out Walter Ruski. He's this young kid who's just getting into Phish, and he listens to Phish albums and does reaction videos. And honestly, it is so joyous to listen to Studio Phish through his ears and experience what he's experiencing.
I know what you're talking about.
It's just cool. It's fun.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
I find him entertaining. He has good commentary. He like speaks well on music, honestly.
Will you come up on Tokyo Record Style again and we can talk more about Phish?
Yeah, I would love to. Honestly, I feel like this is like been really fun. Usually when I sit here and do an online internet thing, I'm like doing parent teacher conferences. This is my like backdrop for conferences. This is so much more joyous. I like didn't drink too much wine. I have my cigarettes, I have my tea, I have all my beverages. I would love to do this again.
What would you
read and comment?
Yeah, it was really nice. It would be great. Yeah, you can come be my English teacher. Come here and teach us about whatever your music, and let's talk more music. And yeah, you're always welcome here.
It was fun. Sorry, you go.
No. I was just gonna say, never mind. You go.
I was just gonna say, for me, the comfort in working from a text is really like my wheelhouse. So like, you know, like read aloud, think aloud. That is what I do like a lot of the time in my classroom. Mostly it's like poetry or the things they carried. I'm doing read aloud with my students, but this is like really, really fun to work from a text. So if we want to do more reading about Phish, I think that that's really fun.
That's interesting. Let's do it over on the dog log. Let me get my pal Michael involved in it. I kind of pitched this idea to him, but he kind of didn't. He was like, the idea of reading something for an hour and being online for 2 hours. Understandably, I knew it was going to be like that. So I know Michael well enough to know that probably would have exhausted his like online engines.
Oh,
but I know that
you
he would
picked the
have
right nerd for this, I think.
Yeah. But it would be fun to get him on and get Kara Uchi on and get, Jamie Jan over and like let's get a little online. I mean, if you guys don't have, let's do a post-show analysis. If you guys want to do that, not here, but on the dog log, let's have a post-show thing on
I feel
tour.
like, do you know Wook Plus? They kind of have like a monopoly on that a little bit. There's F-Zappa. Yeah, do you know F-Zappa 20?
I know F-Zappa, yeah.
And then there's the Wook Plus guys do that. I feel like this is really original, but we can talk about this, when we're not 2 hours and 50 minutes in.
Okay.
Yeah, but Brian, this was amazing. I know I have to.
Fun.
I'm going on a hike tomorrow with Deb. Shout out. Did you like my rainbow Phil ode? Isn't this cool?
I love it. Right. Speaking of like coming off stage, I thought of something. Phil coming off stage and not really knowing if it was a good set or a bad set. There's a story of Jerry throwing Phil down a flight of stairs because he didn't play what he wanted to play, and then he went back and listened to it, and it wasn't at all what he thought it was. And maybe I'll go back and listen to this thing.
It's very aggressive for Jerry Garcia. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's from Phil's mouth. Phil told the words that he like took. Oh no, and I think Jerry even said it. He said like, I was so wound up. I thought he just was like sabotaging the set, and I took him and I threw him one of my best friends down the stairs, and then like I went back and listened to it, and it was like a really hot show, and I was.
That's amazing. Well, those guys can duke it out at the Great Gig in the Sky. It's nice to imagine them reunited with all of our friends that have passed, our angels that have passed. I find it like quite comforting these days. Like music, I am quite sure is like this bridge between worlds. It's the portal. I mean, like, there's so much crazy communication that I think is possible in the tonality and the resonance of music. It's like a fucking spaceship to anywhere you want to go. Music is fucking best. In the words of Frank Zappa.
I love you, Ann.
I love you too, Brian.
Okay.
We should talk Zappa sometime. That'd be fun.
Let's do Zappa next. Let's talk Zappa. I'd love to talk Zappa, of course.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Hello
I love you.
Give my love to Milo and Cass and everybody else back in Boulder. I was missing Boulder real bad.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu. Okay, see you on the next one. Bye.
All right. Love you, bud. Bye.